for the morning prayer. So please, Rishi.
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishi. The first talk of the day is on history and evaluation of yoga therapy. And to deliver a talk, we have amongst us Sri S. Sridharan, Senior Teacher, Krishnamacharya, Yoga Mandiram, Chennai. I request Dr. A.L.V. Kumar sir to give the brief introduction of the speaker.
Shubhodaya, Swagat. Today is Dvitiya Shukla Paksha, Krishna Paksha. So, the traditions of yoga in India, northern traditions, southern traditions, people get confused with the sequences of asanas, which is the right sequence, which is the right flow. The world over, 80% of the yoga that people love to practice is called power yoga or vinyasa yoga, or called advanced Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga, like a Jivan Mukti couple from New York. They went on to become very famous. And similarly, so Iyengar yoga, as it's called, which is known for alignment and balance. Alignment and balance. Yoga, so of Pattavijaya is known as yoga of the fitness, so as a resistance, and from which power yoga started. Now in India you will see the modern yoga practices, like, so you will see like cult of it, which is catching up very quickly. They employ a very professional, so the cult yoga teachers who are proficient in actually in so-called power yoga or in vinyasa yoga. The most important is, as yesterday Swamiji was telling, root is very important when you want to learn. When you want to undergo a heart surgery or any surgery, what you look for from your surgeon? Experience. Maybe a young graduate from a medical school, he must have scored 12 gold medals in all the subjects. He just graduated from, and he wants to do your operation, heart operation. Will you go there? Or a renowned surgeon whom you call with the 30 years or 40 years experience, whom you prefer, tell me. Yoga is all about experience. The most important is learning from experience is the most important. Yoga has to be learned. Prachakshanumana agama pramanani. The yoga begins with, our health and happiness begins with choosing selection of the standards. How much you know the standards, that much you are healthy, that much you are happy. Whether it is industrial equipment, at home, your equipment, your maintenance, your car, or whether it is your health, it is all about input versus output. Simple. Specification, pramana. Entire yoga begins with the pramana. Yogena chittasya padhena vacha malam sharirasya vaijyakena cha yopakharottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjali pranatosmi. The tradition, the great scientist, the great saint, revered by Yogena Chittasya, the technologies and the science of purification of the mind, changing the gene expression in the form of Yoga Darshana, the one who has given. Why he is adored? Yogena Chittasya. And second one is a contribution to the field of the yoga. Padhena Vacha. Here is the person from the tradition today. Our guest speaker is the most authentic speaker. Whose guru, who is also my guru? Krishnamacharya. The Krishnamacharya, the one who lived 101 years. The one who went on to, who is invited by Mysore king to work for a kingdom. And all the princes and princesses, all for the summer holidays, from all the kingdoms in India, used to come to the Mysore, just to learn, to get trained, under the great, incredible Krishnamacharya. And then subsequently, with the independence, post-independence, he has to shift, from Mysore to Chennai. Today, whatever you call the famous traditions, their gurus, Patabi Joyce, or B.K.S. Iyengar, or his own son, Deshikacha, all of them represent Krishnamacharya. He went beyond Muktinath. As I tell you, Himalayas are divided into 4 places. Tarai, हमारे चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव साहब वगैरह जहाँ से आते हैं, पंजाब हैं, यूपी हैं, ये जो फर्टाइल लैंड्स हैं, जहाँ सो ये पूरा भारतवासियों को जहाँ से सो जब से मिल रहा है खाने के लिए, पीने के लिए, वो तराई बोलते हैं. उसके बाद आते हैं हिमालयन फॉरेस्ट एरिया, पहाड़ बोलते हैं. पहाड़ के बाद आते हैं हिमाल, 6,000 पीक्स या 8,000 पीक्स. जब आते हैं कमाल, कमंडल, कमाल, एरिया ऑफ योगा, spirituality, it begins. That area begins beyond. The Muktinath itself is in the Kamal area. All the vegetation will be over, all the beautiful peaks of the forest area gets over. Then you will see the last mountain of the Lakshmi. Lakshmi Kshira Samudra Rajatanayam. We see, Sri Rangadhameshwarim. Where is that? Dhaulagiri, the waters of acidic in nature. Just adjacent to that is the Gandaki river, Kale Gandaki river. The Vishnu and Tulsi farm of the Saligrams you will find. Further beyond, where the river Gandaki begins, 100,000 caves you will find. That's where the today's guru's guru, Krishnamacharya, went to learn. When he came to know, when I met him at the age of 95 years, he refused to give appointment to anyone. I was referred by a person from Himalayas. I sent him a note. Immediately he called, where did you go? He never revealed, because it's a Achanta Gopyan. Every Hatha Yoga technique is called the sacred secret. Then I told him it only begins after the Muktinatha Kshetra. Actual yoga begins. That is all ice desert. It's called ice desert. Their way of source of water is only glaciers, no rains. All clouds get stopped by Himalaya itself. That's where actually yoga journey begins. He went to Varanasi and he was a professor or a lecturer teaching in Sanskrit, pursuing a Sanskrit. He was teaching to a queen of, at that time, Viceroy Governor's General's wife, or in that way Sanskrit. And she was so impressed by Krishnamacharya Sanskrit and his absolute discipline, absolute health, understanding of the languages. He is a multiverse, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, and Sanskrit, and you name Hindi, Anargala. It just flows from him, and lived by that. And he realized soon yoga is not in Rishikesh or Haridwar, having learned from there. And he inquired, where in Himalayas I can get a guru? It is at that time, British Governor General helped him in arranging special permit to go into the Tibet beyond Nepal. And he went to Muktinath. And from Muktinath he traveled almost 200 kilometers to study, to meet his guru. His guru, when he went, his guru is bathing in Manas Sarovar. Manas Sarovar he kept. And he bathed and came out. Rama Manohara Brahmachari is the teacher. And then Krishnamacharya is very sincere. There was no day Sandhya Vandana was not done. A typical Vaishnavite Brahmin, orthodox Brahmin. He never left his practices. Like a Srinivasa Ramanujan, the great mathematician. You see, like when he went to Cambridge, the struggle between the orthodox practice and the modern living, very difficult for them. So also Krishnamacharya, he tried to keep his finger, he wants to get into the waters of Manas Sarovar. And immediately Rama Manohar Brahmachari prevented him. You first keep your thumb. Do you know what are you doing? And Rama Manohar, the Krishnamacharya kept his thumbs into the water. And the thumbs turned into blue color. Ice burn. And he watched Rama Manohar Brahmachari. He is glowing. Nothing happened to him. And he started. So this is your starting point. Validation. Satyam vadishyami, brahmam ritam vadishyami. Yoga is all about, it is all about proving validation, evaluation from time to time. If you don't validate your experience, it is not a science, it is not a yoga at all. That's how, Krishna, how long it will take, sir? I am determined to achieve that stage. Rama Manohara Brahmachari told him, it is up to you. If you are a good Shishya, if you are full, you have studied Vedas, Shadgunas, Dhamma, Shama, Upharati, Titiksha, Samadhana, Shraddha. These are the qualities of as a student you are supposed to have. If you have, it is up to you. Never ask any teacher, when will I accomplish? My dear, it is up to you as a student. It is in your hands. It is not in my hands. There is no looking back. But he was given permission only for 2 months. And the 2 months, the Guru's influence is so much. He pleaded, he requested, Guruji, I want to learn. I'm nowhere after these 2 months. I can't request as a Guru to come to India, but there's no way I can come here again. Even to come here to meet you as a Guru, incredible. There he came to know Shankaracharya practiced 84,000 asanas, Ramanujacharya practiced 64,000 asanas, and Madhvacharya practiced 16,000 asanas. Have you ever read about it? You read his book, Yoga Makaranda, written in 1934 while he was at Mysore Asthan. So you will understand what is behind becoming a great yogi. Is like yesterday, Mahamandaleshwar. He knows. He started with Shankaracharya Machyam, Badarayana tradition. And his Guru assured, yes, you are a Jnanasi. You are a mumukshu. Done. Your wish will be fulfilled. We meet again in Himachal. So he came all the way from Kailas, traveling along the river called Beas. Beas River, Beas River flows from Kailasa. Parvati River comes from, Kulu Manali area, Spiti Valley. They merge. Holy Sangam it is, where Parvati and Shiva's rivers merge. There they met. Next 6 years, Krishnamacharya learned from his teacher. Krishnamacharya, the one who followed a typical Himalayan flow called Kurantaka Yoga, Sri Tattvanidhi, different names are there. Unlike the Charanadasa Varga practiced independently in the northern traditions, because I come from like Sivananda tradition, and going and meeting such a teacher from Himalayan tradition is the Guru himself. So Kurantaka Yoga is a flow sequence. When a river flows, even the rocks become a sand. So all our imbalances, all our kleshas, all our sanskaras, in a flow of vinyasa, everything dissolves. Zero resistance, Viniyoga. His son, Deshikacharya, joined. He is a professional engineer. Joined him is a ripened age. And here is the one, Professor S. Sridharan, not a professor, but yes, he is more than that. He retired from the bank. Once you see the smell, fragrance, a good fragrance means you don't want to leave, right? The soul calls. And he went in Chennai and he met Deshikacharya, he was telling me. And that's all, 40 years, he is telling me. I did not spend much time with Deshikacharya. My time is only with almost 3 to 4 years with Krishnamacharya. The sacred secrets of Krishnamacharya, each one of those disciples preserved. Deshikacharya, so preserved. In ripened age, when you go and learn, you will get entire essence of their learnings. Now, when our chief executive retires, say for example, this month, or if we are lucky if he gets extension, I'm telling you, what we leave, what we lose is the experience of them. That's why department tries to use their experience. Experience is different from a theory what we learn in a college. So here is a person, 40 years experience under a guru, Deshikacharya. Deshikacharya joined, left his profession. Otherwise, आजकल ज़माना क्या है? Father follows something, son follows something. And Deshikacharya, well educated. Gar ka marge dal barabar. He never realized how incredible his father is. His father told him. Krishnamacharya, whether you or me or his children, the same. All his, 3 daughters and, 3 sons. And he has 3 sons, 3 daughters. For all of them, they know him as, very strict. He has no attachment, whatever. Any student, anyone who is a good student is close to his heart. Absolutely lead the life of the Vairagya till the last breath. Time means time. Whether he is a son or he is a daughter, whether he is a student, whoever it is, time means time. That's it. Very strict disciplinarian. So Deshikacharya followed Jiddu Krishnamurti. He's very close followers of J.K., very close follower of the J.K. And J.K. had a cancer, and he wanted to learn yoga. He came to Chennai. And he asked Krishnamacharya, whether it's a prime minister, whether it is you are world famous for a yoga teacher, for a strict teacher is strict. He sent always his son, who is following him, Deshikacharya. Okay, this is the way you have to teach this. In the process, his son got motivated, came to know incredible nature of his father. J.K. told him, your father is like a universe. Till then, his father, yoga also not accept, because J.K. and them used to follow B.K.S. Iyengar, Understand? And now, never it's too late. He served his father Having realized incredible nature, next 40 years he spent, he go, now we have. So, Sridharan sir, last time in 2013 he was here. Very difficult. The moment I saw him, I was telling him, when I saw Krishnamacharya, he was like you, ripened age at the age of 95, but completely mindful, absolutely healthy. Little bit of old age problems, otherwise 101 years he left. He has proven, later at 1934, 40s itself, he has proven he can stop the breath for 1.5 minutes. Only yoga teacher whose breath is established that only one breath required for him. Whether you are doing meditation or a yoga, know your validation. What is your rest heart rate? Check. You may be telling, I am meditating, I have this experience, that experience, I have been practicing yoga. Your rest heart rate will tell you. The Krishnamacharya's rest heart rate is 20. Means that minimum number of times it beats to meet the body oxygen requirement. That robust is a ketogenic, resistance-less, superconductance is a body, is absolutely conserved state of prana or oxygen. Yoga is all about absolute science. It's not that yogis have something given like that. The one who practiced this essence of therapeutic yoga called Vini Yoga. Iyengar Yoga is called alignment and balance, Shikshanakrama, Rakshanakrama, Sushtikrama and Rakshanakrama. His resistance and endurance is mainly picked up by Patabi Joyce. Aligned yoga is all about moving between your center of mass, center of gravity, and so your frontal plane, sagittal plane, and so working within that plane toward the horizon conserves the energy. Moving away from the body of center, stability, anything is a wear out and tear out, more oxygen consumption, more calorie consumption, that will never lead you to infinite metabolic capacity. Fundamental principle of yoga, understand, is conservation of energy. Working along the planes, working along the axis, until you reach absolute conservation of where there is no oxygen requirement, where there is no need for heart to pump anymore. So here is a person who lived by that, 101 years he lived. And the one who learnt at that age, ripened age, Viniyoga, Upayoga, Viniyoga, a yoga which is useful for us. Today, the one who living by those principles, 40 years with those principles of, is the master of therapeutic aspect of Krishnamacharya Yoga, Chikitsa Krama, Adhyatmika Krama. Here is the person who practices. If you ask Pattabhi, he can't teach you. If you ask Iyengar, he can't teach you. You go, here is a living legend at the age of 72 years. We are lucky, number 9 we have here. 7 plus 2, 9, 72 years. You can see him. His commitment to the practice. A veteran representing. How lucky to learn from a 72-year-old, 40 years experience, and from a guru like a Krishnamacharya and his direct son. So, welcome Sridharan sir onto the podium. This is your time, this is your day, and people should know it. They are very simple lived. You won't believe how simple they live.
Namaskaram, Suprabhadam, good morning. Before I start, I want to thank Guruji Dr. Kumar, who has invited KYM and me. And I am here before you because of his invitation. And I remember, this is a second visit for me to this place on yoga. 2013, Yoga for Self-Realization. I still hold those two books, very beautifully done by Guruji for them, for those 2 days, 3 days session. I addressed in the mini hall there on Krishnamacharya. This is second time. So I first would like to thank Dr. Kumarji and the organizers. I am proposing to present some concepts on yoga therapy because very recently, particularly after the declaration of the International Day of Yoga, the therapeutic aspect of yoga is coming into forefront. Prior to that, it was thought to be an Adhyatmika science. If you go and ask someone, they will say, no, I am not having the age to start yoga now. So I'll have to retire and start. Now, because the doctors have started looking into yoga, so many research papers are coming. Everyone is taking to therapy. And there is a large demand for yoga therapist. So when there is a huge demand suddenly coming up, you know what happens in the market, So we need to have a control over certain quality aspects. So certain questions that arise, which is what I am going to discuss with you all today. Because not knowing that I am being trained as a therapist, I was trained. And I was telling Usha for the last 2 days we are together, how I was a banker. I was a merchant banker. And I went to meet my teacher to learn from him yoga, but he made me a teacher somehow. It is just providential. And the day one he wanted me to teach, I have been teaching only someone for a therapy requirement. And we have a particular way of going through with therapy, which I will share with you, which we call as the KYM approach now. So this is in general my presentation for the day. And at the end of the day, I want you to carry some message about what is the past of yoga therapy, what is the present of the yoga therapy, and what is the future of the yoga therapy. Okay, let me start. Can I have the slides, please? This side, huh?
You want that side?
That side better. Because turning this side, the neck will be a bit difficult. Okay. Oh, this is a pointer only, or it can change the...
No, pointer.
Only pointer.
Yes.
They have to change,
No, automatically it will come.
Okay. No?
Yes.
Oh, right. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful arrangement. My name is Sridharan. A good introduction, fantastic introduction was done by Guruji. Let me start with the prayer that he said. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi आबाहु पुरुषाकारं शंखचक्रा असिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतंजलिं श्रीमते अनंताय नागराजाय नमो नमः. This is a prayer on our teacher Shri Krishna Vagishayatishwarabhyam संप्राप्त चक्रांकन भाष्य सारम श्रीनूत्नरंकेन्द्र यसौ समर्पित स्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीढे विरोधे कार्तिकेय मासे शतताराकृतोदयम् Yogacharyam Krishnamaryam Guruvaryamaham Bhaje Krishna Suri Dayapatram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanathāryam Vandegam Yogadeshikam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. This is a prayer for health from Vedas. Om Bhadram Karnihi Bhishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaihi Stuštuvagam Sastanubhihi Vyashayem Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Brihaspatir Dhadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the essential meaning of this wonderful Shanti Patam from Vedas is, we are asking the Supremes, the gods, let us through our ears hear everything auspicious. Let us see auspicious. Let us be possessed with strong limbs. And using the body, let us worship, be blessed with a life equivalent to God's. Let the glorious Indra, the god of the gods, bestow to us stable health. Let the Garuda, who flies without any hindrance, who destroys misfortunes, bestows health. Let the teacher of the gods bestow to us stable health. The word Ishvara of the Yoga Sutra is Shayesha Purveshamapi Guruhu Kalena Anavachetat. In yoga, in the Yoga Sutra, the God is none other than the teacher, and the teacher's teacher's teacher. So the source of all knowledge, the seed of the knowledge, jnana, knowledge, it is the seed of the knowledge. And the word, I took up is the word is swasti. That is the swastha that you are seeing here. Absolute fitness of mind and body. And what is this swastha? That's what I am starting with to say. So, the swastha, the Sanskrit word swastha, can be divided into swa and stha, two. It is, swa means self, stha means abiding, being there, stable. So this being in oneself, what does it mean, being in the self? Being in one's natural state. In fact, at the end of this, I'm going to say our natural state is to be in good health only. Illness is an unnatural state. We are going to see that. Now, being in oneself means uninjured, unmolested, contented, doing well, sound well, healthy in body and mind, comfortable, at ease. Swastha is to restore back to the natural position of non-illness. This is what is yoga therapy. In short, this is what yoga therapy is, which you won't get in the other, particularly in allopathic system. They are not trying to restore you back into the natural state. They are only trying to remove the illness. But here there is an additional input of taking you to the natural state. Now, this swastha is also defined better in Ayurveda. Samadoshaha, samagnischa, samadhatu, malakriyaha, prasanna atma indriya manaha swastha iti abhidiyate. Generally in Sanskrit, the speciality is, if you have a word, you can have the root dhatu meaning, and you can break it and see the meaning, but there will be a definition always. Anything you take, yoga or any word, there will be a definition. This is a definition of the word swastha. And this is by Charaka Samhita it's coming. One is in perfect health when the three doshas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, I'll try to explain them in quick way later. Digestive fire, the digestion, assimilation, metabolism, all the body tissues and components, dhatus, the entire physical body, all the excretory functions, physiological functions of urination, defecation, are in perfect order, in balance, with a pleasantly disposed and contented, this is additional, most important, pleasantly disposed and contented mind, senses and spirit. That is the speciality. The spirit is always contented in its natural state. But when it comes in contact, what is called as samyoga, with the Prakriti, which I am going to explain, it is as if the impurities or as if it is passed. It is as if some happiness and some sorrow is passed on to the spirit. It is not its true nature. So it will be restored back to its nature of true happiness. Now, continuing on this, doshas are three, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. At this point I thought I will quickly explain them. It regulates the physiological, psychological and spiritual facets of the person. These three doshas are related to the pancham, the five great elements, and to the three gunas also, which I will quickly go through in my following slides. Agni, most important, we have an Agni here, which is important for us to digest and all. See, even if you are having no illness, but if your digestion is not good, if your sleep is not good, if your other things are not good, still you should be considered that I have some illness. Let me go over and get myself to the natural state. Dhatus are all these like reproductive tissues, bone, marrow, nervous tissues, bone, fatty tissues, muscle tissues, rakta, rasa, all have to be, and malakriya, excretory functions, urine, sweat, prasanna atma indriya manaha. I told you, pleasantly disposed, most important. All this may be, all the other things may be perfect, but still if you are not pleasantly disposed, somebody would like to come and talk to you. They may not like to turn away their face and go. That is the pleasantness, So that's what important is. Now let us go to quickly the same word, swastha. I told you, I have just summarized the three doshas in equilibrium. 7 tissues are in, digestive fire is in proper condition. Waste materials are thrown away. Sense organs are functioning normally. Mind is undisturbed. The individual is experiencing happiness and contentment. We'll have to check for ourselves, because we don't have to go to any laboratory or we don't have to go to any special all-body test. If this is fulfilled, you are fit already. Now, there is one more word in Sanskrit for health called arogya. This is a very special word. Arogya, it comes from the word ruju santape, that is the dhatu. And arogya means arogasya bhavaha. Roga means illness, aroga means no illness, wellness, bhava. It should be a bhava. Somebody else will not say, I have the experience. Bhavana here is an experience. I experience wellness. Not only that, a feeling of the absence of illness, roga, disease, infirmity, sickness, breaking up of strength, disease that which cause physical harm and injury, also mental. In fact, here also, the Ayurveda Charaka Samhita gives nityam hitahara Viharasevi, Samikshyakari Vishayesha Asaktaha, Data, Samaha, Satyaparaha, Kshamavan, Apto Vasevi, Bhavati Arogaha. Bhavati Arogaha. Arogaha is no illness, Bhavati, he stays. Who? It is not the one who regularly follows. Nitya means always, every day. And practice, I would say, all good practices, including yoga. Eat wholesome food, a wholesome lifestyle, deliberates in all his actions. Look at this. This is coming as a part of the fitness, and is not involved in the objects of the mind, who is generous, just, truthful, forgiving in nature, who is service-minded and helpful to one's own kin, will remain unaffected by disease. In fact, this could be considered to be a direction towards this. Are you generous? Are you helpful to people? See, I can be very fit, but I'm thinking only about myself always. What should I do? How do I get more money, or how do I go into my next promotion? And the mind is always filled with that. That is not health. Health is where I am also trying to help people. I will. And see, deliberating in all actions, very important. We don't hold the key for all the end results of all our actions. It can happen anyway. I start on a project, it may be completely successful, partly successful, or maybe even a failure. But after that something happens, do I regret? I don't regret, because I have deliberated. Oh, I did my best. It happens like that because nobody knew COVID will come. So projects went on into shell for 2 years. So I have deliberated and I have acted. So I am not going to be influenced by the results. Now, I'm starting on this topic of yoga therapy. So yoga therapy, what does it calls for? It calls for an understanding of the yoga therapy. What is yoga therapy? Using of tools of yoga for mitigating the suffering due to illness. See, the most important thing is a therapist must have these two, what I have stated in the first 2 lines. And it is not enough if I get this information in a book. It is not enough. And in fact, compared to any other healing process, there is less to do with book here. There are a lot of books coming up. There may be books coming up on therapy. It will be coming. Good. There may be a lot of YouTube things. But the most important point is, it is what's happening in the mind of the therapist. The therapist must have the ability to understand. When understanding comes, it must be a pramana, proper understanding, not viparya, which is the wrong understanding. So I can understand a subject, but if I understand it wrongly, what will happen? My application will be wrong, and naturally I will not be doing a correct therapy. And that perfect understanding comes only through a proper personal practice. In our tradition, our teachers are very clear that they will teach us only when they are very happy about our personal practice. And by just seeing the face, my teacher will be able to say whether I have practiced every day and I have been practicing. Just seeing the face is enough for them. By the walk, by the way we come. So personal practice, and the personal practice is also not touch and go. It is not simply within the comfort zone. I may be doing every day half an hour yoga, but within the comfort zone, it may not be enough. You have to challenge yourself at all levels. And it takes us, the dhyana role is very important. And it takes us to the state where I have the ability to take my mind to the state of samadhi. Samadhi does not mean sitting in a place and doing without anything. Samadhi is a state where the mind is so clear that there is a perfect understanding. It has taken itself to the state of perfect understanding. Samyak adhiyate iti samadhi. It is properly placing the subject here. Now, that takes to the next step of Yoga Sutra called Samyama, which is a tool. And by just getting into that, by looking at the navel, according to Yoga Sutra says, Nabhi Chakre Kaya Vyuha Jnanam. I'm going to talk about that. By seeing the person, you should be able to say what type of illness that this person has. And that was possible by our teachers, and that is, we are trying to inculcate it in our system. We will take all information later from the person, but can you find something by looking at the person himself or herself? It should be possible. That comes only by a deep dhyana that one has to practice. It is not casually reading books. You may say, I have seen 1,000 people. What is your personal practice? Where you are at your physical and mental level as a therapist. Now, where is the origin of the yoga therapy? Quickly. This must be understood that yoga therapy did not originate after independence or after we were introduced to the Western system of medication. It is much prior to that. And also, one more thing I want to now emphasize and tell you, there is an idea that yoga therapy and Adhyatmika yoga are not related. That is wrong. Adhyatma yoga, which we call as yoga for self-realization, understanding our true nature, self, and that and therapy are related. In fact, because of the therapy, you are removed of all the malas, automatically a self-realization will take place. If we close all the doors in this room, you won't get the sunlight. It doesn't mean sunlight doesn't exist. The moment you open the doors, sunlight will come in. So the darkness is not the nature of this place. It is being in light. Darkness we have imposed. So illness we have imposed. Remove the illness and you will be on the path of self-realization only. Whether you want it or you don't want it. Why you are not getting? Why all not getting? Because we don't consistently follow. If I have a back pain, I come to the center. And I know people who say, I have sent you 100 people with back pain, but I am not practicing. Because my back pain is okay now. I am fine. So if you stop with the practice, then you will be using the therapy only for that limited purpose. Maybe you come back after you get a blood pressure, or maybe you come back after you get diabetes. So you continue with the practice, it will lead you to the state of self-realization only. Now, the sutra which talks about the illness is Vyadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana, Alapta Bhumikatva, Anavashchitatvani, Chitta Vikshepaha, Te Antaraya. So Vyadhi, you get a reference to that in the Yoga Sutra, which is more than 4,000 years old. And in the Vyasa's commentary there, it says, what is Vyadhi? He explains, the commentator explains, Dhatu Rasa Karana Vaishamyam. So that is why I introduce you already to these topics of Dhatu Rasa. Dhatu, illness is a vitiation of the humors, the three, that is Pitta, Vata, Kapha, and secretions and organs of the body, which I have explained at length. There is a vitiation. Going back to the original position is swastha, wellness. Vitiation is illness. In 3.29, just now I was saying, Nabhi Chakre Kaya Vyuha Jnanam, which is actually a third segment or third chapter of the Yoga Sutra, which talks about Samyama. Samyama. If you apply Samyama, in fact, if you apply Samyama on any object, you will know completely. Bhuvana Jnanam Surye Samyamat. So, in the atomic energy, all the scientists, all of you here are doing a Samyama. That is, when you do a Samyama, you get complete knowledge of the object or the subject. Now, when you do a Samyama on the parts of the body, Nabhi Chakre, near the navel, the sub-commentary of this sutra by Hariharananda Aranya says, in the Ayurvedic system of medicine, disturbance or imbalance of wind, bile and phlegm is regarded as the root of all ailments. And they say that you will be able to get an idea about a lot of things by just looking at the person's navel itself. Of course, if I start explaining, it will be a bit longer session. and how you can use at the physical level the nabhi, the alignment of the body. And our body is aligned with the center of the navel. How much is the distance between the navel to your shoulder, this shoulder? If you draw a line, it should be a triangle, but equilateral triangle. So similarly, you should be able to see how all the other organs are placed. And if you go deeper, the navel gives you a lot more idea of the inner parts of the body also. If the navel is drawn out, you can be very sure there is still some problem. Now, Shushruta says that the division of the three, most important in Ayurveda, Pitta, Vata and Kapha. Vata, Pitta, Kapha, that is what they generally say. Vata, Pitta and Kapha and the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, have relationship. Not mutandis mutandis, not exactly this one and to this one, but there is a relationship between the three gunas and the three doshas. This is called as three doshas. And I will try to explain in another slide that one. Hatha Yoga Pratipika, one of the important texts which belongs to about 14th century, 13th century, he is talking about arogyam, because when one does postures, asanas, what one gains out of it? Stairyam, arogyam, angalagavam. If you are doing your yoga postures correctly in the way in which it should be, then not exactly the way of some other pictures are showing. Some person may be able to give a picture. We are not bothered about that. It's not necessary that you should be able to touch the feet and all that. But you should be able to do your postures in a way functionally it gives you what is required to be given by the asana. But how do you know about that? If you are practicing, you will get stairyam, sthiratva of the body. You will be able to stand, talk for some time, walk properly. Arogyam, angalagavam, lagutvam. Lagutvam means the weight does not determine my agility. Or there are people who are just 60 kgs, but they cannot get up and they say, very difficult for me to get into the car and come out. You can see the best basketball player, he is so very heavy, but the way in which he is swinging and putting the ball. How can he do that with such an amount of, the body is properly aligned. So, Angalagavam, the Arogyam there, which is an offshoot of the practice of asana, proper asana, is Chitta Vikshepa Aroga Bhavaha. That is the commentator says. You don't think about the body only. It is Chitta Vikshepa Aroga Bhava. So, when I go back to that, the word Vyadhi is stated, list of 9 I was giving out in Sanskrit. It says finally, starting from Vyadhi, it says Chitta Vikshepaha. These all the 9 are the confusion in the mind. The problem in the mind, that is actually the illness. Chitta Vikshepaha, te antarayaha. They are the impediments. Now, in the case of Hatha Yoga Pratipika, I am just telling you the origin of yoga therapy. There is a large reference to pranayamas helping in illnesses directly. But it talks about not about the illness per se, blood pressure, diabetes or anything. It talks about the vitiation of the three, vitiation of the Kapha, Vata and Pitta. So to restore them to balance, if you do this pranayama, Surya Bhedana, it controls Vata. Ujjayi, it controls Kapha. Shitali, Shitkari, controls Pitta. In fact, they are called Ashtakumbhaka, of which the 3 are very important. We widely use these 3 only. Even these 3 we will have to modify to use. Now, Hatha Yoga Pratipika, one important warning. See, it is so tempting that you would like to immediately enroll yourself to some therapy, this thing, rush and go. Good. Or You may even be tempted to become a therapist yourself. Why not? But what is wrong? Can yoga therapy will have a side effect or no side effect? We are talking about the side effects in allopathy a lot. That is the main criticism. Yoga therapy also has got side effects. It doesn't come in an unalloyed situation. It is alloyed. Anything, even Ayurveda has got side effects. So you should be very careful enough to avoid the side effects. That is why I am seeing a lot of people saying, no, I have taken to yoga, sir. I bought this book from the, bookshop. Or I am doing every day morning, I am looking into the television. Someone is doing some yoga and I am also doing in my floor. You will get into difficulty. How? It says, pranayamena yuktena sarva roga kshayo bhavet. If you do yukta, proper pranayama, which includes not only pranayama, yoga in general, sarva roga kshayo bhavet. All illnesses will go away. Kshaya. But ayukta abhyasa yogena sarva roga samudbhavaha. All rogas will come. All rogas will come. This is 13th century text or even earlier to that. Now, it doesn't stop there. You have any idea what are the illnesses? It says, let me give a list. Hikka, Shwasascha, Kasascha, Shiraha, Karna, Akshi Vedanaha. Eye, that is pain in the eyes, pain in the head, and pain in the ear. Bhavanti vividaha rogaha pavanasya prakopataha. This is the most important point. See, pavana means air. We call Hanuman as Pavanasuta, Vayuputra. There is a link between this pavana and prana that we must know. Vayu itself is not prana. In the same way, prana is not vayu. They are different. At the time of the creation starts, the first thing that happens is prana is produced. It comes in the Vedas, in the Upanishad, particularly in the Prashna Upanishad. The first in the creation is energy. So let us take this as energy of any type. Prana is energy of any type. So, but the Vayu is one of the 5 major elements. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. What is the link between this prana on the one side, which has evolved itself, and the Agni, Vayu on the other side, which has evolved in a different system, is the Vayu is the carrier of prana. Vayu is the carrier of prana. The prana we get from 3 sources for us, practically speaking. One is the food that we take. Another most important is the water. That is where we are getting into difficulty now. As the water is becoming more and more impure, the prana in our system is more and more less and impure. The apovai pranaha, annam pranam. These are all the words that are used in the Vedas. So the third is from the air. So as you are inhaling prana. And that is why the air must be good quality. The quality of the air determines your prana in your body. The quality of the prana in your body. Quantity, quality, both are there. So this prana and the Vayu have this relationship. Vayu is the carrier of prana. In fact, prana is the carrier of our mind. It carries the mind. They are all coming in the Upanishads and the various, related topics. So, pavana prakopaha. What is illness? It is a vitiation of the prana. Please don't take this as a vitiation of the air. Of course, in the Ayurveda, they divide the illness as the kapha vata pitta, vata prakopa, they will say. But in the yoga's parlance, it is the prana prakopa. So, I am going to tell you about the most important aspect of the prana. the most important role of the prana. So prana prakopataha, because if you do a wrong breathing, it is just not that you will get into some cardiovascular issues or anything. But if you start inhaling and holding without the proper, practice, it can create a lot of problems. This type of karna, akshi, shira, vedana. So most of the time, since all of you are practitioners and teachers and all, we will not know. The morning 7 o'clock or so, you would have done your practice. And you will say, sir, nothing happened. But by 4 o'clock, you will get the headache. And you will be able not to find out why it is. And it would have been on account of a wrong pranayama practice that you have done in the morning. And pranayama will be helpful only when you do with the bandhas. So bandhas itself calls for a lot of regular practice. Now, wrong practice of pranayama will produce hiccup, asthma, bronchial disease, pain in the head, eyes, and pain in the head, karna, ears also you should include. Yes, ears, eyes. In fact, the ancient saying is, what is the pain which is very difficult? It says akshi, kukshi, shiro, danta. It is 4 pain which are very difficult to manage. Akshi, eyes. Kukshi, stomach. Shiro, head. Danta means teeth. These 4 pains are very difficult. So we have got already 3 of them here. Now, what is illness? Now the definition we have got: mental distraction and confusion. There are 4 symptoms which follow that. I am not feeling well, pain, dejection, despair. Everything is fine. In fact, I got my promotion, and today morning my boss is giving me the letter, but I have had a dejection. I still feel dejected, and I don't know why. Instability of the limbs of body and uncontrolled breathing. Uncontrolled breathing is not asthma only. It is the ability to hold on to the breath. So you are not able to practice pranayama because you should be able to take control of your breath. Because breath is the vehicle of prana. You can't control the prana directly, but you can control your breath. Can I inhale myself? Can I exhale myself? I don't leave it to the system, because from the system I am going to take it. Okay? Now yoga looks at the human system. Yoga anatomy. First, foremost, number 1 in this is, there are 2 segments in us that's called Purusha Prakriti, Drashta Drishyam, body, soul. Soul and body, in simple terms. Body includes the physical body, the mind, senses, and the mind. It's called Prakriti in Sanskrit, Purusha and Prakriti. Consciousness is another word for Purusha. And what is the difference is, look at it. The illness is at the level of the Prakriti. The illness is at the level of the Prakriti, but the experience is at the level of the Purusha. The dead body does not have a headache or anything. It is only the live body which has got headache and everything. In fact, often when you look at a dead body, sometimes some of the diseases might have gone. If there are any heaviness of the body, they would have gone. The dead body most of the times will be in a good state. But it is only when the person is alive like us, because where is this? There is a link between the consciousness and the body. The problem is at the level of the Prakriti, but the experience is at the level of the Purusha. What to do with this is the point now. This must be understood very clearly. Now, Purusha and Prakriti quickly, one is consciousness, the other is mind, senses and body. This is not made up of the 3 gunas, that is made up of the 3 gunas. It does not undergo change, but it undergoes change. The problem is, you will ask me the question, when you say it as an experience and it says there is some happiness and sorrow, does it not undergo change? As if it is undergoing change. The realization is, oh, I think I am beyond this. That's what Ramana says. People go and ask him, Ramana, he had cancer. He says, yes, I have cancer. I have pain, but that is in the body. he was able to differentiate. Is it possible for even ordinary people like us to do? It is possible. That's what Yoga Sutra says. But you have to work towards that. Now, this is clean, this has impurities, this is the master. So when it gets its position as the master, this Purusha, it can handle illnesses. I tell you one thing, illness will be there always. Illness is what we have acquired. It is on account of the karma, which I am going to explain later. You have done something wrong. If you have eaten something which doesn't suit your system, you will get a problem at 4 o'clock in the evening. I think I took masala dosa, it doesn't go with my system because my tongue wanted it. Is the karma, and I will have to have a karma phala. And it will go through, you will have to go through that. So I have done something in my past, number of years. I have hit somebody like left, right and center. I could not take back that, so I have taken another birth to take back. So, correct, cannot perceive directly because the drashta will go through the system, undergoes experiences, helps in experiencing. As far as illness is concerned, it is at the level of Prakriti, and illness is a vitiation of the two gunas. At the level of Prakriti, it is made up of the three gunas. The raw material is three: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. This is glass. The raw material is glass. That is not glass. It's a different material. You are all sitting on something which is a different raw material. So the raw material decides a lot of things. The raw material of the Prakriti is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And as far as illness is concerned, it is the vitiation of the Rajas and Tamas, the excess of Rajas and Tamas particularly. And Sattva is that which really cures. So our aim is to make the Sattva more and more in your system. That is what the therapy is moving towards. Panchamaya, quickly, Panchamaya model. First things that as a therapist, we must know. In fact, I would say that even the one who is taking therapy, a care seeker, better the person knows. Number one, the first basic anatomy is Purusha Prakriti. Then the nature of the Prakriti. Then this entire system is divided into 5 segments. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Annamaya is the physical body. I can see your physical body. You can see my body. That's the Annamaya that you are seeing. In terms of height, weight, so many things. Because Maya means, it comes from the Sanskrit root word Mayat. Mayat means filled up with. Anna, it is filled up with Anna. Anna means food. Food. Pranamaya, that which is the segment, energy body. Filled up with prana. Manomaya, whatever we have learnt. Whatever we, let it be physics, chemistry or anything. Because in the ancient days it was Vedas only. Yajureva Shiraga, Ruk Dakshina Pakshaga, Sama Uttara Pakshaga. Because those are the 4 Vedas. Now you have got a lot of subjects. All subjects which are gone into your memory. In fact, at the Manomaya level, all of us will have the same. That is why when we write examinations, all of us are supposed to write the same answers. At the Manomaya level, it is the same. But the moment it goes into Vijnanamaya level, which is based on our samskaras, which we have acquired from our past, it will be different. So there is a war between Russia and Ukraine. So all of us know, we will say the same. But is it correct or wrong? Every one of us will give a different answer to that. Somebody will say Russia is wrong, somebody will say Ukraine is wrong, somebody will say America is wrong, somebody will say even India is wrong. Why it is different? Because of our innate samskaras we have, our own method of way of doing, which is Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, ultimate bliss, happiness. When the Anandamaya is going subtle, it will ultimately reach the Brahmananda. That's it. Quickly, this, for example, you look at the last one, which is very important for us. When you are doing asana properly, it works on your Annamaya. When you are doing pranayama properly, it works on your pranamaya. So when you are doing dhyana, it can affect all the 3. It can be going manomaya, vijnanamaya, anandamaya, but particularly on the manomaya. When we do some nyasas, mudras and all, it particularly affects the vijnanamaya. And Vedic chanting, we have found in a large way, affects the anandamaya. If you hear a proper Vedic chanting, what happens at the end? You are happy, you are restored to some happiness. Now this is the second one we must know. These are all individual topics which can take us to hours together to understand. Now, in determining the cause and effect of the illness model, this model is important. The cause could be somewhere, but the symptom will be in somewhere else. See, you have a back pain, neck pain. Neck pain is very common now. Everyone comes with a neck pain because of the computer, and particularly because of the, mobile. And the best position is only this. That's what we are doing, and we are getting into difficulty. And this is the pain. But this pain, which is in the Annamaya level, can have a lot of causes at various levels. Wrong food, they are all reasons for that. Sometimes you can see a Manomaya level and Vijnanamaya level particularly. So we should know, and that is why we have to have a consultation, find out which Maya, where the cause is, so that I orient it towards with the right type of tools. Use of yoga tools to address them. Next one, third is, do I have some more time? Huh? It is 11 o'clock going to be now. Is it okay or should I stop here? Huh? Okay. Because maybe the next speaker is here. That was one. Okay. Prana. The first is we should know about your Purusha Prakriti. The second is we must know about the 5 Panchamaya. Third one is Prana, Nadi and Chakras. Most important. Prana is that which links the Purusha and Prakriti. I told you about Prana. How do I understand Prana? What is the difference between a dead body and a live body? The Prana is not there in the dead body. That is why in our local languages, including Telugu and all, we will say Prana has gone away in the dead body. So what is linking the Purusha and the Purusha is the one who resides in this body, and it is for the purpose of the Purusha that this body is there to serve. How does it get served? Through the Prana. Use of the Prana, if I go to a house today's, you need energy to enter the house and do so many things. So the energy in me keeps the body live, makes the mind also clear. Prana, full prana is required for you to have complete clarity of the mind. All the system, full prana is required. In fact, he is considered to be a yogi whose prana is within his body. Yajnavalkya Samhita says, our prana goes out up to 12 angulas because of impurities inside, which is gross and subtle. So removal of the impurities through pranayama makes the prana to go into the system fully. And that which is the link between these two. So using the prana only, the Purusha will be able to do something to keep the Prakriti in its proper place. Prana has an important role in life sustenance and healing. Nadis are the carriers of prana inside the system. When I said carrier, outside it is Vayu that takes inside. Inside our body, it is the various nadis, 72,000 nadis, of which 10 are important, particularly the 3 Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. It is through these nadis, and these nadis are also going into, they start from a particular place called Mooladhara, and from there it goes like a tree, goes up and down. And these nadis crisscross in some places. And when they have junctions, nadi, chakra, they place called as chakras. And granthi is another word used. Granthi is like a knot. So when the nadis join and become a knot, in some places they are called chakras. In some places they are called nadi granthi. In fact, Krishnamacharya says, nadi granthishu jananam labdhva. He says the illness starts at the level of the granthi, of the nadis, because the proper prana is not going there. Mam sheko she vriddhim gatva santitu nila natanam grutva, he says in his one of his works. So, if I have an issue in my throat, this chakra, this granthi, he is not receiving proper prana. So he will say, in the ancient model they will say, that you will have to work towards cleansing this and making the prana flow there. Cleaning the nadis and chakras, pranayama will direct the prana to the part of the body where there is use required, where there is illness, and heal it. And for which we have to use our Agni inside, and that's a different topic, like pranayama itself, but per se. How to use the Agni which is near the navel, Jataragni, and how to turn it downwards because the malas are below. The Agni is like this. Agram nayati iti Agni. Agni will always be like this. So it is in our system, it is looking up like this. The malas are here. So you will have to turn it down. In fact, one of the reasons why do we inverted posture is only that. It is not because we are getting a lot of blood here or our memory will improve. No. They are all modern people, they try to find out why. The most important thing is that the efficient way of turning the Agni towards the Mala, if you invert. Invert postures are very important. You can do pranayama properly to also get this. Whenever we are exhaling, malas are going up. Whenever you are inhaling, the Agni goes down. When you are holding, it burns. That is the idea of pranayama. Now there are pancha pranas. Quickly, prana is that which is responsible for breathing. Apana is excretion. Vyana all over distribution. Udana voice. Samana and digestion. Samana, that is this Agni. This particular Samana Agni has to be proper. In pranayama, we use certain techniques to get this proper digestion. When the digestion is not proper, there will be malas. If the digestion is proper, you will be... In fact, there was one conference some time back in Bangalore where I was asked to address on Ahara. The name of the conference was Ahara. I said, what are you asking me to talk yoga person on Ahara? Because a lot of Ayurvedic people, dietitian, they all came. I said, no, you talk on Ahara. I said, Yoga Sutra, Yoga text, they talk about Ahara, Niyama. They are all available. They are in Ayurveda also. We talk about Sattvic Ahara. I said, they are all there, already talked about by a lot of people. I said, whatever you eat, you eat. I will make your fire in such a way that everything can be burnt. In fact, the pranayama done properly, it can burn halak ala visham. There are postures like Mahamudra and bandhas if you do, it can burn anything. You must do it properly because the Agni comes. When you do a proper yoga, vapukrishatvam, vadane prasannata, natasputatvam, nayaneshu nirmale, arogata, bindujaya, agni deepanam. The fire will go in such a way that anything that you put in will get burnt up. That's more important. The samana vayu along with the fire there will do that. Now quickly I am going to go through everyone. So I have talked to you about certain commonalities for us. That is, every one of us have got a Purusha, every one of us have got a Prakriti. All of us are made up by the Panchabhutas. All of us have got the three doshas. All of us have got the Panchamaya, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. So they are all common to us. But we are completely different. Every one of us are different. We possess common structure qualities, but when it comes to functionality, why the same thing is not functioning? My Agni is not functioning in the way in which it functions. Someone else Agni is more efficient. So functionality wise, they don't function in the same way. We need to work towards that. And why is because of the vasanas, which I will cover. This is largely due to the vasanas. Vasanas is a Sanskrit word. It's nothing but imprints. So when you do an action, any action that you do will leave an imprint in your mind, whether you want it or don't want it. In fact, modern science says, as I am talking to you, there is such a big auditorium, so many people are there. But the mind ability is to even keep the cornermost person in the mind. I may not know. I don't have the ability to bring it out. Everything is in the memory. Everything is in the memory. Similarly, all actions go into the memory smriti, and with smriti it becomes samskara, and samskaras added together, sigma of samskara is vasanas. And that is my genetic map. That is the genetic map of every one of us. So we are not born afresh. We are not born with a clean slate. There is a genetic map already there. That decides, and that is the vasanas. The vasanas will become again samskara. Because for making it to function, it will become a samskara, and that is why we are having this person's samskara is like this, because of the vasanas. That is what decides with every one of us here. And these vasanas, which have been gathered over a period of time, decides on a lot of factors, including our life, the way in which I should talk, the way in which I should behave, think, etc. Now, this is another quotation. Vasana samparityage vasana samparityage yati yatnam karosh yamalam tatte stitilatam yanti sarvadhi vyadhayaha kshanat vyadhi vyadhayaha plural. This is by for one of the Yoga Sutras. This is the commentary by a great commentator called Sadashivendra Brahmendra. He's a great commentator, a Vedantin by Advaitic, this thing was a Vedantin. He has specially written a direct commentary called Yoga Sudhakara. For the 1.32, 1.30 was Vyadhisthana. Then after that, 2 sutras later, for the sutra he writes this. He says, it is enough if efforts are directed towards abandonment of the impressions, vasanas, lurking in the mind, and the process of all diseases get loosened in minutes. In minutes, he says. So yoga therapy is not just aimed at the body level or not even at the mind level. It goes deeper into the levels of the vasana. So if you if you loosen them, you will get it. Then you immediately question, if I remove all the vasanas, sir, all diseases will go away. Diseases you will have to go through. But it will give you the enough strength to go through that process. See, I will tell you, we get 2 people, and one is having a reading of 220 by 110 BP. Another is having a BP level of 140 by 90. And we meet 2 people, only BP. I asked the person, you are having so much of BP level. He says, it is there for 10 years, sir. I am taking medication. I am managing. I have come to yoga to learn something from somewhere. This person, he says 140 by 90. Only last week I checked, sir. I don't know. This is a very high BP, and I don't know what is going to happen to me. Will I get heart attack? So this person takes the illness in a different way. That person takes it in a different way. So this is based on vasanas. Doesn't mean that you have to throw away. What should be the level of pain, for example? If I take a pin and if we decide touching every one of you with the pain, is the pain felt in the same way? No. Someone, before even coming near, somebody will start shouting as if it has touched. It is basically because of the gunas, rajas and tamas, that is the idea. So vasanas have a very important role. To remove the vasanas is important. As I told you, the moment you remove the vasanas, what will happen? It takes you to self-realization. That is why yoga therapy and yoga adhyatmika are not different at all. If you do a proper therapy yoga, it will take you, because after all, tajjat samskaraha anya samskara pratibandhi, tasyapi nirodhe, vasanas are removed, sarva nirodha, all are removed, nirbija samadhi. You get into that higher state. Now, factors that affect our health, what he says is, Deha Bedat, Desha Bedat, Vriddhi Bedascha Naikata, Rutu Bedascha Jayante, Roga Sangena Sarvata. Yoga Ragasya of Krishnamacharya, who brought this text to life. It says, we are divided based on our age, work, place, food, seasons. each of one or separately, and together they always affect our mind and the functions. It is, according to him, it is the Sangha which is responsible for Roga. Sangha is a very simple word, joining. Joining in any way, I would say food, wrong association of food with us, wrong association of company of people. So lifestyle, Sangha. The cause of illness is wrong association of element, a particular food at a particular season. What an amount of problems that we have now. We are eating fruits which is not seasonal because it is a season in US and we get some apples from there and we eat here. And it is not the apples that are grown here. And it is some other fruit which is in some other place. And you are living here, we are living in another place. They are all cause of illness which we don't understand them. They produce impurities in the system. How does illness come? They produce impurities in the system. Origin, three. Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika. Adhyatmika caused by the self, food, lifestyle, already been telling you. Adi Bhautika, external things like if I go to some other place, and other thing. Adi Daivika, we cannot say COVID and all that. We don't know how it came. It's still a mystery. So Daivika, which includes, of course, other excess rain, and they are all there. Tools available for yoga therapy, according to Yoga Sutra, is Ishvara Pranidhana. In fact, the first and foremost tool is submission to Ishvara. If you look at that Ishvara Pranidhana, it talks about Tasya Vachakaha Pranavaha, Tajapaha Tadartha Bhavanam. That is the model of meditation. So meditation has an important role in yoga therapy because that is the first in the entire segment of tools. In fact, there is Prachyardana Vidaranabhyam Va Pranasya. It is about pranayama, use of exhalation, and certain other things like you can meditate on the Jyoti. These are all the 9 that are given there. In fact, the most important thing is Maitri Karuna Mudito Pekshana. Have you tried the therapy of being compassionate to people, of talking good of people, not ill of people? That itself is a therapy, according to Yoga Sutra. The second is Kriya Yoga, which is Tapaswadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana. Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyama, all of us know. But if we put them together, all the three lines which I have stated, we get the following. We get asana, pranayama, dhyana, meditation, lifestyle changes, change in food, reflection, use of mantras and nyasas, and Vedic chanting. These are all the things. Swadhyaya is Vedic chanting. Tapaha, Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means, tapaha. Why I put tapas? What does tapas mean? Tapayiti tapo nanasha natparam. To keep off from food, wrong food, is tapas. Or going on fasting properly is tapas. Swadhyaya, swachhaga adhyayanam. And doing chanting, Ishvara Pranidhana, total submission. Along with asana, pranayama and all. And illnesses are divided mainly at those level of body and mind. I have told you already all this. The link and Purusha and Prana has an important role. Free movement of Prana in the Nadi is what we are trying to do in the... Now, the approach to yoga therapy is very close to the Ayurveda, and there is a Vyuha or model. The Vyuha model in yoga therapy is Heyam, symptom, Hetu, cause, Hanam, goal, Upayam, tools. This is what to be followed in a systematic therapy way. See, there is no protocol available properly. You can't have asana for back pain. You can't have asana or pranayama for blood pressure and all. They are not correct. That's not a correct direction. One day we will learn the lesson and we will get back. It is holistic actually in nature. Even in modern medicine, allopathy is also holistic. Some people are saying the medicine given for diabetics improves memory. How is they found out it is allopathic medication, chemical? They have found out so many things. That means the system is entirely taking it. It is not going only towards pancreas. It probably goes into various other things. So we have to find out the ability to find out the cause, correct symptom, and then find out the goal. The seeker may give a different goal, but as a therapist, you must have a goal and move towards that with a lot of feedback. This is what we follow here. And now, important principles that we follow. Therapy is not disease-centric. It is individual-centric. Every individual is considered separate. A well-structured program should be given. It is not only postures, not only pranayama, dhyana, lifestyle changes, all we give, Consultation we do, it's called darshanam, sparshanam and prashanam. I am talking about what we do in Krishnamati Yoga Mandiram for therapy. We first do the darshanam of the person, then we take some information, prashanam, we ask questions. Why do you get a headache? I get a headache only after I go to the office. The moment I come back, no headache. Morning also, no headache. So there must be some reason why you are getting a headache exactly only in the office. Do you get a headache only on seeing a particular person? Yes, my boss. That is the problem. Then that means, what do we do about it? You can't change the boss. You can't change the work. I'll give you some pranayama. That you start doing it, you will be able to meet. Pulse reading, conversation with the person. Designing a yoga course for therapy includes basic tools, asana, suggestions and food. Modification is more important, which we use in a large way. I'll complete in just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. And negative effects. Application of yoga therapy is a process. It is laying the foundation on the first program, and there will be a progression. Aim to make the care seeker independent and in handling the illness, is holistic in dealing with the individual application. Healing is an internal process. Yoga practice should aim. Healing is an internal process. It is the prana which heals in every one of us. It is to aim towards that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very educative talk. I request our CE, sir. I request our CE, sir, to present a flower bouquet and honor him with a shawl. Definitely his talk was a very educative talk, telling us about from the basics of yoga, the definitions, understanding of different forms of yoga, then how to club the different forms of yoga to make a yoga therapy suiting to the different requirements. A small gift of token for sir. Now we shall break for high tea, and again within 15 minutes or half an hour we shall assemble back for the next lectures.
A lot of healing, a lot of connection it establishes. So now I request Prahaladacharya ji to address, to give us on Sivananda and his secular approach. As I told yesterday, Sivananda is very vast, absolutely secular. He has written about Jesus, he has written about prophet, he touched about every saint in the world, every religion in the world. He touched about every topic of yogic science today we talk about, pranic healing to the way back, volume 1 yoga, volume 2 yoga, which he has written, the way back in 1942. talks about pranic healing. He is the first professional doctor and has given anatomy of Kundalini, anatomy of the spine, and its structure, the cross-section of the spine, how to identify Chitra Nadi, how to identify Ida Nadi, how to identify a Pingala Nadi, how to identify a Sushumna Nadi. That is the depth of the Sivananda Swami Maharaj. In fact, he is the first medical professional, converted a lot of vocabulary into actually yoga vocabulary. He is the first person to call Mooladhara as a coccygeal plexus, Swadhisthana as a hypogastric plexus, and solar plexus as a epigastric plexus, and cardiac plexus as a cardiac plexus, cranial plexus. Very professional. Even today, very few people know that kind of the medical terminology used for a chakra. Now we hear from a person who is representing the tradition. Please come, sir. It's an honor to have you here. It is a beautiful ashram. Should you visit Kerala, and it is well managed by yesterday Natarajan and today's Prahaladacharya. It is a beautiful place, so very well, neatly maintained. Please come, sir.
Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste to everyone. So we start this session with a small prayer. Om Sahanaha Bhavatu Sahanaho Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bolo Sadguru Sivananda Maharaj ki Jai. Swami Sivananda Maharaj ki Jai. Mataji Sivasarananda ji ki Jai. So good to see you all. I know most of you are coming from the science background and scientists are here. And first I would like to thank Dr. Kumar for inviting us and present the secular vision of Swami Sivananda. So as he rightly introduced, Master Swami Sivananda was a medical doctor and he was a successful doctor. In fact, actually in Malaysia he was practicing. And as you know, the yoga is the basis of our life actually. And yoga is coming from the Upanishads, scriptures and the Vedas. But the way it is presented by the Himalayan yogis who is practicing, who is in deep realization, etc., there is all this requirement saying that you need to complete your karma and you need to be ready to practice. And that's where Swami Sivananda realized yoga is the actual solution for removing the suffering from the humanity. It's not that we want to suffer, but life is such that when we're dealing with the karma, there is so much that we need to deal with. It's family, children, office, whatnot. And these are all our duties actually. It's not something that we are thrown into, but once we fall into the duties, we somehow, instead of finding happiness, we just make ourselves miserable. And this is a continuous process actually. And if you have the clarity of what we need to do, there is no room for suffering. But unfortunately, we forget what we need to do and we think that we are forced into, and then we start feeling separating from what we need to do, and that basically makes us unhappy. But there is never question when we become unhappy to ask what makes us happy. We always are not happy with what we have. We are always looking outside saying that somebody else is happy. So a good example is, for example, if I just make you practice the meditation now, just an interesting point to see. Everybody close the eyes. Everybody asked to meditate. There are some instructions are given. But each person when they are meditating, what do we need to do? We need to focus the mind on one object. But after some time, it all starts with that one thought, but after some time the other thoughts start coming. Then suddenly in the room I am feeling my meditation is not working because I have some issues and everybody else is meditating. I'll tell you something interesting. If there are like 200 people here, everybody thinks the same. Okay, that's the beauty. So knowing that Swami Sivananda, he just realized the Upanishads, like even this morning when I'm hearing, or like there was a session that Dr. arranged at 5 o'clock, all the scriptures are in Sanskrit. And each teacher, when they mention some Sanskrit words, is like alien. And getting connected becomes really difficult. And the scriptures, there is one sutra that they say, it is coming from the realization of the rishis. And that, if we just translate from the Sanskrit, direct meaning is entirely different than how practically it should be practiced. And that's where comes Swami Sivananda. He wrote like hundreds of books decoding this knowledge in a very simple language that we can take. Anyhow, today's subject is just to see what is yoga and why yoga is branded as some religious thing. Okay, that I wanted to just clarify from the perspective of a teacher and a teacher's teacher. Yoga is union. Okay, I just give like more observations. That's more helpful here. I come from a Hindu family. I'm a Reddy. And I used to go to the temples quite a bit, as my mother was like quite devoted. Not to say that something else we don't accept, but coming from Jamal Madhug, actually, I come from there. So there, it's like there is many communities are there. We all live together. But when I go to the temple, even though my mother was taken to the temple just saying pray to God and He gives everything, at a very young age, I was just observing what goes on in the temple than just like praying there or like breaking a coconut, etc. And then later I have a very close friend, even still today, and he's a Christian actually. And that makes me to go to the church also on Sundays, right? Then I have another friend who is Muslim. Okay, I used to go to the mosque there, and they have, the fire walking and all that stuff is there. So what I saw actually relate to what Swami Sivananda was trying to teach. Whether we go to the temple, whether we go to the mosque, whether we go to the church, leave about all that processes. It can be a homa, it can be some congregation in the church, or it can be some, Muslim festival. What is happening there? People are coming together. This is the basis of every religion or whatever we may say. That's how it all started. Then slowly people started saying, my religion is good, other one is not good. And then they are also not seeing how do we come together. Separation is created because there is power comes everywhere, right? Religious leaders with lack of understanding, they start saying, this is inferior, this is superior. There is no such thing. Everybody has their own practices, that freedom need to be there. Okay? But the idea here is that in the cities when we live like this in, the big cities, we normally don't know even our neighbor who it is. Correct? What yoga does is, it just brings everyone together. There is no caste, there is no creed, there is no like, you are a learned person, you are not a learned person, etc. What simply yoga is doing is just bringing the people together. It is mainly associated with Hinduism. I tell you why. Because I think the yoga is very ancient science. Before any religion came, yoga came into existence. And it was mainly practiced up in Himalayas. And at that time, it was a practice that not only gives the health, it also makes the mind more healthy. Because body and mind are not separate. They are together. If I may ask, I just want to engage you a little bit when I speak. Sir, what's your name, sir? Okay. How are you? Fine. How is your mind? See, he's a learned person. You all know him. Okay. So, and I asked the question, how are you? There was no problem for him to answer. I'm fine. But the moment when I ask him, how is your mind? He's thinking. So now I ask you, it is you and your mind is also you. But the problem from the childhood, we are grown up saying that my mind is separate from my body. And that union is called the yoga. If I can bring my body and mind together, and if I am able to answer just when I look in the mirror, if I am fine, if I say mentally I am fine, every problem is gone. And that's what Swami Sivananda tried to teach with the yoga and meditation, to make us to develop the understanding about ourselves. Okay? So now I go back into, the Hindus embraced yoga because it was easily available here. We are born here, right? But it doesn't mean that the other religions and other sects do not have the yoga. Because as I said, yoga was well before the religions came. Like when I go to the mosque, 5 times a day, they do the prayers. And in each prayer, when I see, there is so many moves that are nothing but the yoga postures, basically. And actually, if you do that, you don't need to again practice yoga. Okay, it's a lot of exercise for them. And then if you are a staunch Christian, if you go, there is a lot of kneeling, moving, all that when we see, it is nothing but the yoga. I'm not talking about the physical asanas here. The other aspects also within yoga. Okay? To me, yoga is quite scientific. It doesn't belong to one religion. It doesn't belong to one sect. Every country, all around the world, one way or the other way, yoga is within. We're just making it like a big deal now, recently talking about, etc., or rather, our own knowledge went to the West and then it's coming in a different package, etc. If we just leave all that aside, Swami Sivananda said, the basic quality of a human being coming into existence is not to be selfish, to be selfless, to see a little bit outside of us, to see what is the purpose of my life. I take care of my own family, I take care of my own people, but beyond that there is something that I need to be looking out. I need to be helping people. And being a medical doctor, he just wanted to do that. And how do he do? Like he goes into Himalayas and he practices, he had the realization to understand the root cause of suffering is the ignorance. Okay? See, the more we say that we don't understand, the more we start saying that we are suffering. And he took steps. There is Upanishads here, it's right here. And coming from a Brahmin family, he knows that these are the Upanishads that are being taught to him from the beginning. But why people are not embracing? Because they are very hard to understand. They are very hard to relate to. So then he took a language, actually. He was quite, when I look at his language is quite easy to understand, actually. The very Upanishad, normally when you read in Sanskrit and if you try to read some commentary, it becomes complicated. Because it doesn't relate to our daily life. It always relates to, okay, you know what? If I don't have all these responsibilities, maybe it is something that I can apply. Okay? He gave this knowledge in a way not to study, but to practice. This is the beauty with the yoga. Yoga is not for studying, it is for the practice. Like for example, being in the yoga field almost like close to 40 years now, I went when I was very young to my teacher, what I realized, even the complex subject like Vedanta, many people try to understand intellectually. But Vedanta is a part and parcel of our life. On daily basis, if you are doing the Vedantic meditation, in every interaction, what we are going through, then your life will be very simple. Actually, you are born with simplicity. Unfortunately, we make it complex. And that's where comes the scriptures, just to make you understand better, so that complexity is gone, and then simplicity is back. And Swami Sivananda says, live simple, think high. Okay? So, any of the responsibilities what we have, we don't have the luxury to go away from that. And how do we take care of that responsibilities is only by understanding that I'm doing it because it's my karma and I need to be happy about performing that karma. Okay? Karma, when I say the proper duty, it can be anything. You can be working in the office, right? And you come with a lot of passion to do that work. And then when you come to the work, of course, there is some politics there, there is some misunderstanding there. This is part and parcel of our journey. And when we are going into, if we understand in the first place I came into the, job or work is to, this is something that is providing me, you'll be able to cherish more happiness in there. Okay? Otherwise, everything else become very, more important. And Swami Sivananda said, serve, love, give, purify, meditate, realize. That is the first point I just mentioned. The very purpose of our life is to see outside of us. Okay? Not to think selfish, me constantly. Okay? So, if we are able to serve, we will be able to see that universal love with no expectation. So, most of the time, most of the issues are due to we always have the expectation. And Master Swami Sivananda said, intention is very important. I repeat, intention is very important. I have an intention, I wanted to help a person. Like, I have a teenage child or whatever you may have it, right? Your intention is to help that person. So that is always there and it has to be, according to Swami Sivananda. But the problem is there is expectation. Like, for example, you tell that child not to do something, it's good for them. But that person does it, that means your expectation is you do not want that person to do that, and they still go ahead and do that. And that basically irritates you. But what's our karma here? Our karma is always intention. That means we are always going to do the best we can, providing them or like bringing them in certain way, etc. But when that result is not coming, if you have the expectation, you start becoming more and more unhappy with that. Swami Sivananda said, intention should be there, leave the expectation. That means, let's say you tell a person something that you need to do, and after 1 year that person comes back, you need to have the same enthusiasm to tell again what is good for them. Okay, but if I have the expectation, I start getting mad with them. It doesn't help that person, it doesn't help me also. Okay. And Swami Sivananda said, love is not something that only when somebody loves you, you love them. Even if somebody hates, you should be able to love them. And we are not talking about here, like, I live like a saint, but sometimes letting go is very, very important. Okay? Because if I love someone, there is no room for the hate there. So love, give, this is very, very important. So I come from the families like where we have a lot of farms and everything used to be. Okay? So what I saw is that each time in my house like 50, 60 people eat at one time, right? But I used to think like, there's my aunts and my mom, they're all cooking, and my fathers, they like uncles, they work. When they come back, it's like, why do we need to take care of the entire, like, the community there? In giving is the happiness that we always derive. Okay, Master Swami Sivananda said, actually, if you don't have the opportunity of like doing bigger, just put 10% of your income aside and try to give to an orphanage or like somewhere it is helpful there. What it does, it's not the material contribution there, it is just the happiness that I sleep with, just saying that I did something good. Okay, not necessarily just saying I need to get the name and fame, etc. Okay, and then through this you can purify yourself. Sridharan was talking before, we are all born with some mala, we call it dirt, because it comes from the thinking process most of the time. Not to say we are all like that. Sometimes we think ill about other people, sometimes we feel jealous, etc. All this creates some kind of like impurities in us, right? So through these actions of serve, love, give, we can purify ourselves. Then going into the meditation makes sense. Okay? So I have been teaching yoga for many years, and I traveled like many countries, with the blessings of my teacher. And also I met teachers like Kumar, who implicitly give the knowledge more in a scientific way. But what I saw is that yoga nowadays is like, whenever we mention yoga, people think about only the physical postures. It's not just that. Even interesting thing, I remember like in 1990s, I just happened to travel first time to the West, and I was in one of the center in Toronto, and I used to get the phone calls, and people say that, do you teach power yoga? Do you teach Ashtanga yoga? Do you teach Vinyasa yoga? And I used to think, being honest with you, that somebody is like, joking with me. Coming from here, I never heard all these names actually. Okay, and I used to think that maybe somebody is calling to tease me or something. But then I realized actually those names are there. I did not practice any of that, but I started looking what these are. These are just names. Practice is one thing. And that's also one of the problems nowadays, like when the pure teachings are coming more traditional way, authentic way, people don't pay attention. And if there is a name that is very catchy, unfortunately people falls for it. Okay, so like let's say, I make some jokes sometimes. Like I'm sitting here and I say that I know the chakra massage. You come and pay me and I clean all your chakras. And I'm sure in this room, at least 90% of the people fall for it. You will be in line, you pay big money. And it's easy for me also to clean the chakras, and I tell you how I do that. You can sit in a chair. I just need to give a lot of big silence and say that now I cleaned your Mooladhara chakra. I take like 1 hour or longer, it becomes more effective, and people pay. If you're paying attention to what I'm saying, that's how yoga is being manipulated. Okay? A true practitioner actually cannot make you better or happy. A true practitioner, true teacher always asks you to practice. There is no easy pill here. Easy pill here. And Swami Sivananda goes into an ounce of practice is worth tons of theory. Okay? So we just need to put the sleeves up. Like for example, if you take a walk in the morning, you will be very healthy. But if you're thinking somebody come and touch your forehead and it happens, it doesn't actually. You do need to do that part for yourself. Okay? This is what Swami Sivananda tried to bring the teachings more in a practical way, also in a simple way that we can take. Like for example, if you are going to the office and if you have no time, or if you have older parents, they cannot do all these yoga asanas, they cannot do all this meditation. He said he can do something called the Sukhapuraka Pranayama, which is like inhalation and exhalation watching. Because the breathing is directly correlated to our mental process, how we think. Okay? If you see that when you get angry, your breathing is shallow. Okay? So knowing this, he gives it these simple breathing techniques. Okay? But he never brought in a religion. Just in introduction, he was just saying Swami Sivananda wrote about Jesus and he wrote about Allah, etc. Because Master Swami Sivananda, all his understanding and approach is everybody in this universe is one being. Okay? So that's how he, most of his books talks about the peace and bringing the people together there. So if I'm practicing something that is working for me, it should work for everybody. And if we say that only for this kind of people this practices work, there is something wrong with that practice there. But also how you take these practices very practically. What Swami Sivananda did, he changed the tradition. Like there used to be a tradition which we call it as Guru Parampara. Okay, and Guru Parampara comes strictly from the Hindu religion. There is one Guru, there is one disciple, and then that disciple is changed, and then he become Acharya, and then it continues. But Swami Sivananda said it's not right. Okay, this also becoming like a monopoly here, right? So what he did, anybody coming with interest, he just initiated them, and he let them choose what they like, because yoga is like an ocean there basically. There is a lot of subjects that you can take, and each disciple took one of it. And in came our teacher, and that just like makes this subject more interesting there, right? So our teacher, Swami Vishnudevananda, he used to be in the communications of the army, Indian army. I'm sure that there is some army people are here. Maybe they're not army actually. So, and he used to be in Dehradun actually. And one day he lost a piece of paper, and he was looking for it. And instead of finding that paper, he found another paper where Master wrote this 20 spiritual instructions for, being healthy and peaceful. So that inspired him quite a bit, and he went to see him. When he went to see him, the very thing what he don't want to see is what he saw. As he went to see this great teacher, and many people are coming, they are garlanding him and they are worshipping him. Okay, so his book says like simple living, and suddenly he see all this extravagant things that are happening. So he was not convinced with that, and he just wanted to go away from that. And Master was walking down, like let's say it's like steps are here to his library. And as he see this young man pulling away from that when everybody is like prostrating to him, he did a great thing actually. He went himself, Master Swami Sivananda, and prostrated to this boy in front of everybody. And he says that my ego is melted, my teacher. And then he got connected and he quit the military and he went there. And when he stayed in the ashram, of course, Master's teachings are quite like what you call socialistic, I can say. That is the right word to use, because he wanted those teachings to go to everywhere. But he's still practicing in Himalayas, my teacher, with the Guru. He's practicing, but he's not happy because there is more that can be done. He wanted to explore the scientific aspect of all these asanas and pranayama and all the other practices that we are doing. And here is Master Swami Sivananda. He put the entire yoga into the 4 paths of yoga, we call it. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, raja yoga, and jnana yoga. It's all good. Theoretically, it's all good. He put everything very practically. He called it yoga of synthesis. But it's not going enough outside, right? So he's always frustrated. So one fine day, he packed up his bags. He's gone. He left the ashram. There was another Swami that he came, and he said that, Swami Vishnudevananda is not there in the ashram, he's gone. So Master Swami Sivananda said, let it be, because I think teacher and students are like so connected, they can understand very well if you are really tuned to. Okay. So after 3 weeks or so, he told another Swamiji to go and find Swami Vishnu Devananda. He said also you go to Uttarkashi, up from Rishikesh, and Swami Vishnu Devananda will be there, call him. So after 3 weeks, this particular Swami went, and he did find our teacher in Himalayas, and he asked him to just come back. I'm sharing this because there is something interesting here. And when he came back, our teacher continued with everything, and later on he went to the West. And then later he told the story that 3 weeks I have been very selfish, because I thought doing these practices I am going to realize, whereas my teacher is saying you stay here and you serve the other people, and that's how you realize. And all these intense practices when I did in Himalayas, I understood service is the only way. He came back and he was very devoted, and he became an exponent in the Hatha Yoga practice and Raja Yoga practice, which is the mind and body basically. Hatha Yoga deals with the physical body, and then it just brings the mind more into one, the scattered mind into a focused mind. And from there getting into Raja Yoga, which is the meditation and going for realization, becomes very easy there. And it was all good there. I think because of that the humility, and he came back and he realized actually what Master is trying to teach him. And Master Swami Sivananda felt now he is ready, and he gave him 10 rupees at that time. We're talking about 1950s. And he said, go and teach yoga, people are waiting. So then he started journey. And as he's showing his asanas, as he's trying to teach the meditation and the 4 paths of yoga, people were quite interested, and he started teaching from place to place, and they pay some donations, he started traveling. But then he ended up in America. When he ended up in America, he saw the lifestyle there. It's nothing to do with yoga, they have a lifestyle, they're very disciplined. All these things are okay, but there is obesity, there is a lot of health problems, etc. What do we do? Now we cannot talk, okay, yoga is good, come to Himalayas. Nobody is ready, nobody can go like that. They need to continue with where they are. So here he comes and he says, this very yoga what I learned need to be put into a perspective where people can practice. Now we are coming to the subject. Okay, so it's nothing to do with any religion. He said, health is wealth, peace of mind is happiness. Yoga shows the way through proper exercise, which is yoga asanas, I elaborated them. Proper breathing, which is pranayama. Proper relaxation, which is savasana. Proper diet. One must watch what you eat, because you are what you eat. And then finally, he spoke about the positive thinking and meditation. So at the end of it, you will see that why yoga cannot be connected to anything, because yoga is just universal, it's for everyone. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what is proper exercise. In this room, if I may ask, it's not that nobody is exercising, there should be some kind of exercise that you must be doing. Correct? Yes or no? Yes, you are doing something. It can be a walk, or it can be going to the gym, etc. But how do you define an exercise as proper? There is sports, there is dances, all these are exercises, right? How do you define an exercise as a proper exercise? I need some response from you to keep going. Madam, how do you define an exercise as a proper exercise? Yes? Okay, so when you do an exercise, if it increases your stamina, he says that is a proper exercise. Any other answer?
Exercise is something where your heart rate should increase, the pulse rate should increase. And after this, you should have, after doing the exercise, you should feel light.
Okay.
Rather than you said, after doing the exercise, you become tired or exhausted. You feel light and you feel more energetic.
So an exercise that relaxes you at the same time as you're exercising.
The tools are there where your pulse rate they should be increased, your heart rate should increase, the sweating should be there. That we say, yes, you can say we are doing a quantifiable exercise.
Correct.
Otherwise, everyone say even a grinding masala is also exercise. No.
Grinding masala is exercise actually. Yeah, okay.
Quantifiable.
Yeah, yeah. Repeat. So it's addressing an issue that I am having in my body. It's good if I just leave it, there will be a lot of answers, okay? I'll just give the answer. Any exercise when it is done properly is called proper exercise. Simple answer, okay? So now we come in, okay, this is good because I know from morning there is a long talk and then you went to eat and everybody is sleeping, I need to wake you up. Now you are with me, so let's speak now. Okay, let's speak something, okay? So an exercise that is not strenuous, that means you have simple movements and you get maximum benefits. It's called the proper exercise. An exercise that brings the awareness of your own self, both body and mind, is called the proper exercise. An exercise that improves the blood circulation in the body, which can keep all the internal organs healthy, in return your external body remains healthy, is called the proper exercise. Okay, so it's like little effort, maximum benefits. For example, when I do the yoga asanas, I don't need to go and use several machines and do all that. But everything what I need, with few asanas, I can get that exercise. Okay, so that is called the proper exercise, and all those elements come in yoga. Not to say other things are not good. I'm just trying to tell. If I wanted to combine this many conditions, what I give, it's almost like Hiranyakashipu and Prahlada story here. Too many conditions here, right? So if I wanted to combine all this there, I need to do several things, which I don't have time for, right? But a simple process where I spend an hour or an hour and a half, with the yoga asana practice, I can get all that. And also interestingly, yoga asana practice is the only one which can give you the relaxation at this time when you finish the exercise actually. Okay? So now here comes the problem. When we say the yoga asanas are the proper exercise, they are not one. In Sanskrit it says, asanani yavanti tavanto jivarashaha. That means asanas are innumerable, like the living beings in this universe. Okay, I happen to see all of them, but I cannot now talk about why they came into existence. Okay, but where do we have time now? We hardly have a little time to take care of anything, right? So our teacher looked at them and he said, in any yoga practice, what we do, we can bend the body only in certain way. You can bend it forward, backward, make it inverted, okay, twist it sideways, and then stretch it. That's all, right? So he said, among all these asanas, there are 12 basic asanas. Okay, that covers everything that is needed for the internal and external body. Just 12 basic asanas. And those basic asanas are the one which we take it as a proper exercise there. Okay? So then comes the proper breathing. Okay? Proper breathing, now I cannot ask what is proper breathing. You are going to say when you breathe properly, it's proper breathing, right? So, but breathing is an important and integral part of our life, actually. Okay? The more that we are breathing, the more clarity we have in our mind. It's directly actually related to. And all the scientists are there. I'm sure that you all studied. Okay, I happen to study the physics, mathematics and chemistry in the Andhra University. I'll ask you a question. Is our breathing is through both nostrils or one nostril? I'm sure there is some doctors also here. Is our breathing is through both nostrils or one nostril? You can give any answer you want because it's your observation. Here something is coming, but I'll just take. Yes, madam? I think Kumar sir actually told about the yoga probably, okay? Many places when we normally ask, they say it's through both. And the people like you who say also, it's like one side, okay? So they get confused. And many people are answering properly here, saying that it alternates, okay? And our teacher went a little bit because he was quite scientific. He just don't want to say things like what the scriptures are saying. Practically, he wanted to find out. He has many scientists doing several tests there, etc. This breathing, what we are talking about, which alternates, when my breathing is active through my right nostril, let's say an hour or hour and a half, whatever it is, my left brain is active. Okay? And then when my breathing is through the left nostril, my right brain is active. Okay? We talk about the left hemisphere, certain things is possible, right hemisphere. I don't need to explain much. All the scientists are here. But there is an interesting thing here. Even though you know that the breathing is through both nostrils, did you ever observe to see whether the breathing is changing at regular intervals? That's where it becomes emotions becoming imbalanced. Let's say if my breathing is through my left nostril for half an hour, goes to the right for 3 hours, come to the left for 2 hours, goes to the right for half an hour, there is an imbalance here. Okay, and yoga comes quite handy. Through pranayama, we can rectify. We don't even tell you this is happening. Morning when you do the pranayama practice, entire day, your breathing will be changing from one nostril to other side at regular intervals. When it is not changing, that's when we feel confused. We try to go and ask our friend. Okay, friend says it's all fine. Okay, and when you have a problem, like you go to your friend. When friend has problem, you come. But this is all originating mainly from the breathing there. If you are able to balance that breathing, and if you are able to keep the respiratory system more clean, most of the issues what we talk about, our thinking process can be eliminated. So that's why each time, like even if you go to a psychiatrist, to deal with the issues, deep issues what you have, they just say, take several deep breathings. And if you're angry, if you're like depressed, etc., the only thing what they say is take several deep breaths. So our teacher said pranayama is very, very important. But pranayama also can be dangerous because there are certain practices really, they deal with your subtle energy. It's not a joke. Because I deal with and I teach a lot of courses like Sadhana Intensive Advanced Teacher Training course. It's not like a myth. You go through certain experiences, what you call the astral side, okay, which is related mainly to the mind. But knowing how to practice with proper guidance when you practice, the very thing which is dangerous can become a very powerful tool to you. And many of them who does the pranayama also develop siddhis like knowing everything, reading the minds. We don't go into that, but just to understand ourselves, these pranayama practices are very, very important. First thing, our teacher said, before even you go into the pranayama, one need to correct the breath. Are we using the lungs properly? 3 portions of the lungs, if you're able to use in a proper way, most of the diseases can be run away from your system. Okay? So that's why pranayama is very, very important as a breathing technique. Okay, you're doing the proper exercise, which I said, yoga asanas, it covers everything. If you're doing something else, actually Swami Sivananda was quite, what you call, a liberal person actually. He never said the yoga is the best, which I'm not also saying. If you're doing any kinds of exercise, is always fine. There's no problem. But in addition to yoga, you also need to have some physical exercise. He really said that. Okay, so proper exercise, if you're doing with proper breathing, what is that we are lacking? Is the proper relaxation. Now I'll ask you, what is relaxation? So you go to work, you come back in the evening, you're a bit tired. What do you do to relax? What does anybody do to relax? There are different ways that you relax, right? Let's go into one or two. Harita, poor girl from early morning 3 o'clock, she did not sleep. So now you wanted to relax. What do you do? You close your eyes and you sleep? Breathe. Okay, so you have a good teacher there. So anybody else? Listen to music. Yeah, that's good. These are the answers I want. Okay, listen to music. What else you do? Sorry? Who is that? You have the luxury to sleep, but your mom cannot. Okay, so, okay, sleep. Okay, what else? Every 1 hour you can sleep for 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, no, yeah. So you just lay down doing nothing. That's also relaxation. What else? People say many things actually. They say that, to relax, I drink. I smoke. These are all things people are doing. I'm not like trying to create anything here. Okay. But what is relaxation? Okay, let's say you said music, right? When you listen to the music, you're giving a diversion to the mind. Okay. Either the body or mind are relaxed, they are not both. Okay? Or like somebody said, like, the maximum answer that you can go is the sleep. Is sleep is relaxation? Not really, because when you sleep, you have no awareness of the body. Correct? What is relaxation? Relaxation is a state where the body and mind are resting at the same time. And that's possible with the Savasana. Okay? That's what you try to say, you lay down. But if you master this Savasana, I give you some good news. You did mention 10 minutes. And the experienced teachers like Kumarji and myself, we mastered this already. If we are able to master the Savasana, that is more powerful than the meditation. You can be in the office like quite stressful, go to a corner, 10 minutes, you do the proper relaxation, and it's more powerful than the meditation. You just come out, it's like a blank mind, fresh mind. You can just execute anything you want. How is it done? It's very simple. You lay down flat, then you let go all the tensions by tensing the body parts and letting go. Then what do? Is very simple thing. You focus your mind on your own breathing. Do nothing, just you're focusing the mind on your own breathing. Make it rhythmic and slow it down. Answer is already there. What happens to the mind? Your mind is focused on the breathing, and when you slow down the breathing, what happens to the mind? Mind's activity is also reduced. So my mind is calm and quiet. I just visualize the body's picture in my mind, and I start suggesting to myself, I am relaxing my toes. I don't move anything, but mentally I am suggesting. I relax my ankles, and so on. I just go all the way to the head there. When I finish all these suggestions, auto-suggestions we call, at the end, body is already resting, mind is rested. This is called the complete relaxation. You do it for 10 minutes and come out, like every time you are a fresh person. Mind is always emptied there. Okay? And from there, our teacher went on to say, proper diet, which is very, very important. I just went there, they called me, and we just had some food already in the hotel where we stay, and then I came there. What I see is that people are eating, not to say that something good or bad, but are we watching anything what we are eating? Okay? We don't need to say that, I don't want to eat this, I don't want that, etc. In yoga, the food is divided into 3 categories. Sattvic food, the food that we get from the nature as it is, so you get everything from that, you don't lose anything. It can be the salads, it can be the the fruits, or it can be just the vegetables, raw vegetables. When we take it, we are getting everything, and that keeps the mind also in a state. Meditating becomes easy, maintaining the health becomes very easy. But is it possible to do? It's impossible. Okay, we cannot just live in the sattvic food as long as we live in the mundane life, because there should be there is a lot of stimulation that goes, and surviving with the sattvic food becomes difficult. If you're anybody meditating, you can already say, when we eat rich food with a lot of oil and try to meditate, it takes longer. When you have some sattvic food, when we go for meditation, it becomes very easy. Okay, we are born to eat only sattvic food. Like for example, you go to a goat or a vegetarian eating animal, try to give something meat, it doesn't eat. But we do, because we don't know. Okay, so that is the sattvic food. And then comes the rajasic food. So any food what we eat in Hyderabad can come into the category of rajasic, because there is a kind of like process, there is some cooking, not like overboiling or like stale food, etc. That's called the rajasic food. For a lifestyle like this, that's acceptable still. That means half of the contents in there you are getting and half you are not. But that's okay, you're not losing much. Then comes the tamasic food. Tamasic food is the food that it doesn't give you anything, actually it harms the body. Like overspiced food, overboiled food, you lose everything. So our teacher said we need to be watching. Okay, in all our tradition, we have the food that is more like a rajasic food, that's fine, totally fine. But when you go out of it, when you go for this fast food, when we go for this food that is not good for us, it's only good for this 4 inches of the tongue, and afterwards it becomes harmful for the body. Hence he said, if you are actually practicing the yoga properly, in order to maintain the health, it's very important for you to observe what to eat, what not to eat. And he also said like how many times a day that you need to eat. In all our ashrams and centers, we eat only twice a day, so that you give enough time for the digestive system to digest what you eat. I'm not even going to mention about the vegetarian, non-vegetarian here. I don't want to pick up any arguments here. But if you observe carefully, I just want to throw something and then I leave it on that subject there. If you observe carefully, the food what we eat, how long it takes to digest for a human. Because we have a complex digestive system where it needs to pick up different enzymes and different chemicals in order to digest. Okay, it takes a long time. When it is so, when we eat food which is meat or like any hard food, it becomes a little difficult for us to digest. It's not that we cannot eat, but then it requires more exercise from us for us to make the digestive system more effective, and in order for us to digest it. And Swamiji gave like very, very simple rules that it's not difficult to establish in our daily life. We can just implement them so that it becomes more beneficial. We are what we eat, basically. And I can tell you a good example. I have a set of food that I eat. Sometimes when I go for a marriage or party, there is like more rich food that comes. And when you eat it next day morning, when you get up, you don't need to talk about yoga, meditation, etc. Naturally, you feel a little bit more heavy. Hence, if we are just paying a little attention to food, what we eat, it takes us a long way there. And finally, he said, with these 4 points, if you are observing, we can go into positive thinking and meditation. Is there anybody in this room do not want to think positive? Everybody want to think positive. But is there anybody in this room are not getting negative? We always get negative with many different things. So through the daily meditation, through daily introspection, we can develop the positive thinking, which basically makes a person to say that everything is possible, everything I can do. Okay? But daily meditation is important. Why so? Let's say I have an office. I am working in the office. As long as I am working in the office, there is something that is created in the office, which is like I throw it in the dustbin. Let's say I'm throwing every day in the dustbin and then I'm working every day in the office. After some time, what happens? Naturally, the dustbin overflows, right? I need to empty it. Okay? And that's our life basically. Daily transactions are nothing but this garbage that we're throwing into our mind. And every now and then when we don't empty it, it becomes overwhelming, and we call it as like I'm stressed, I'm depressed, I don't know what's happening. Okay? So the daily meditation, what it does, on daily basis, it empties what you had the day before. That means this morning when I empty, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay empty. As soon as I go into my daily work, once again it will be filled. The only thing what I am doing, I am emptying it on daily basis by doing the regular meditation. So Swamiji put these 5 points very efficiently, our teacher. Okay? And then now we are coming into just saying that why yoga is not religious, because it's quite scientific, as we can see. And this kind of yoga anybody can embrace. Is that correct or not? You can belong to any religion, you can belong to any country. Okay? When yoga is simplified like that, it's very easy to embrace that yoga practice. And what yoga does in return is just it makes us more healthy, more peaceful there. Okay? Our teacher went into a little bit further more. Not just like practicing yoga, but this yoga can be taken a little bit bigger. Of course, he had the personality to do, and he wanted to take Swami Sivananda's teachings of love thy neighbor as your own self. United we live, divided we perish. And Swamiji put a lot of effort of doing the peace missions. Okay, he flew himself, taking the a Apache flight, and where troubled spot he used to go to Ireland or Suez Canal, etc., where he used to drop some pamphlet just saying that love each other, don't hate. Many of his peace missions did not become successful. But as a yogi, intention is important. Okay? Even though they did not become successful at that time, later the Berlin Wall came down. Like this is something that we all can do. Because we are overwhelmed with what we are doing right now, we are not able to see outside of us that what we can do, right? But the daily meditation gives us that ability. Also, don't make the meditation too complex. Nowadays, everything has name. That's unfortunate. Okay? When we say we are practicing meditation, first people ask, what kind of meditation? How do I answer? There is no kind of meditation. Meditation is just one. Okay? Meditation is focusing the mind on one object for any longer you want. That's called meditation. For that, why do we need to give any name? You can take any technique, just focus on that. That becomes meditation there. Now, as the life is moving so fast, we are also getting carried away with all these names, but the ancient science is very simple. Okay? It is just giving some knowledge that practically we can implement into our daily life. But just saying that I need to move away from everything what I am doing, then only I can find the peace, is also wrong, because you need to come back there again. You don't have the luxury of running away from everything what we are doing. So Swami Sivananda believed in that. That's why there is hundreds of books that he wrote, but each of the book also goes back to straight into the original teachings. It's not like, I discovered something. The original scriptures he put in a language that we can understand and we can put into our daily life. And our teacher went a little bit further. He started seeing actually the people's lifestyle, and he bring the yoga into their lives than waiting for them to come to yoga. Okay? To me, the moment when I get up, starts with yoga, ends with yoga, for everybody here. But we are just thinking, yoga is alien thing I need to embrace. Now I go into few things, like many of us were coming, there should be an altar in the house, doesn't matter which religion you belong to. And then morning and evening we just meet together and do certain things. Okay? And then we get into the daily life. That is yoga, actually. Okay? So these are all small things what we do. Even like sitting together and eating is also yoga. Okay? And then any activity that we are creating. I remember my grandfather used to read the Bhagavad Gita for all of us, like when we are small child, etc. We are moving away from that now. That is the biggest problem now, unfortunately. It's not a hard thing to do. You don't need to impose anything. But when we say we have this TV, we have all this external thing, and then go to the bed, entire night there is no proper sleep, and that just continues. Small changes when you make, you can get connected to this world and you can get connected to the people. That's what Swami Sivananda said. And Swami Vishnudevananda very efficiently he took the teachings the way that I explained to you. Okay? So now, how can one say that yoga belongs to somebody? There is no history that is saying. Okay? And also, even when I take the yoga practices, that's another interesting thing. Certain things are not possible for women. Certain things women should not do. But when the yoga started, it started in Himalayas, there was men that were practicing. That doesn't mean that women cannot practice. Okay? It is for everybody. Let's say if husband and wife are practicing yoga in the house, if they're able to be peaceful, that makes a big impact on the children there. Nowadays, it's so like busy schedule that we have that we lose connection with everything. And we start blaming that they are not coming up. But if we are able to find that peace within, then that is contagious. That can be transferred into the families. And even I know many practitioners, when they go into the office also, they can bring the same impact there actually. I don't know about Dr. Kumar, that when we talk, I think that's what, he's like always serene, he's coming with the practices. So one prayer that before I conclude, please don't believe in something that somebody is going to do something. That's never going to happen. You need to put the effort. That effort has to be simple. Don't go for too complex things. I have half an hour and I tell you what you should do. And that can make your life very peaceful. But when you have this big goal that what you cannot do, every day you need to find X amount of time and you need to have all this equipment and you need to have all these tools, that becomes complex. Try not to make any of these practices complex. Yoga is very beautiful. We are born with yoga. And we just need to realize that we are already yogis there. Otherwise, you're always looking, somebody else has the big aura and they're yogis. No. Okay? It is meant for all of us. And that's what Swami Sivananda was teaching, and that's what Swami Vishnudevananda. They're not just teaching, actually, one of the beautiful things in our organization, we have an altar where we have everything there. There is Buddha there, there is Muhammad there is Jesus there is Hindu gods are also there. So when we are that open, nobody is going to discriminate us. Okay? So, if you belong to a religion, there is nothing wrong, you can practice yoga. But it doesn't mean that other people cannot come. Okay? So yoga is for everybody and everybody should be practicing, and that's what Swami Sivananda said. Okay? I thank you for this opportunity. Okay? You're all learned people. We come from this subject. We are only practitioners actually. We don't have anything to prove. The proof is us. Okay? It's coming from the practice. And we hope that some clarification we give tonight, and I really thank Dr. And I think CEO here and they arranging the programs like this is really, really good, because nowadays the yoga is going in many different directions. People get too confused. Okay, so it's nothing to do with the teachers. Subject is there. How you take it makes you better. That's all. Thank you very much. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, sir, very much. As you have taught about how the food affects us and impact our health, understanding of meditation, exercise, relaxation, difference between yoga and religion. So I request you, sir, to honor him with a shawl and bouquet. A small token of love from NFC Hyderabad. The next lecture is on. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next lecture is on message of traditional yoga for health and well-being. It will be delivered by Dr. Manmad M. Garote, Director of the Lonavala Institute of Yoga, Lonavala. Before we proceed for the next lecture, there is a small announcement. We have a group photograph just after this lecture, and I request everyone to be present. I request Kumar Reddy sir to give this introduction of the next speaker.
All this, what you can observe is the crux of the yoga, genesis of the yoga. So the broad-based aspects of the yoga as a methodology we are learning. Yoga as a science, yoga as a connecting. Now the next speaker. Yesterday we had CEO of Kaivalya Dhamma. And his father, O.P. Tiwari, very famous. Kumalayananda Swami. The moment you think of Kumalayananda Swami, he's the typical Indian dress, a personality, magnifying a typical Indian. The way the traditional Indian exists, you can picturize him. The traditional dress. And similarly, another person under him who served him till his last breath. For every experimental idea of Kumalayananda, who offered his body as a guinea pig, who served his guru. Something. Because his time went on serving his master, using his body for every experimentation, for every validation, for every pranayama, for every asana, he offered his body. Ajjaya, Swachaya. Only experienced truth is a yoga. That only can be taught to you. So you will experience the same. His son, in the mission of fulfilling his father, so he established Lonavala Yoga Institute only to accomplish the mission unfinished by his father. The unfinished mission, what it is. Now, recently, have you seen? Yoga doesn't belong to India. You look at, now you go to the, so Google and search. Yoga belongs to, actually we copied and pasted. We have cut and copy paste in India. Actually they originally belong to Nordic countries, Actually, they belong to, so training the soldiers they used. So our Indian kings and, so deployed. Krishnamacharya copied from them. And that's how all yoga frequencies, all yoga sequences, all asanas, we copied from them. Do you know that? This claim? So that's why now we can't even claim yoga belongs to India. Aropana, that is a yogic method. Nirupana, someone has to actually prove that it belongs to us. How do you prove? You go, here is the person who will prove that yoga belongs to India. What none of the institutions have done. And one mission, one man's mission, his father is very well known. Kuvalayananda means Manohar Garote is known entire world. So in the footsteps of his father, in the footsteps of fulfilling the mission Kuvalayananda, Manmat Garote, the scholar, his work in yoga, preserving and retrieving the yoga scriptures and the legacy is mind-blowing. So hear from him. So thank you for, accepting, because I never met him, frankly speaking, because his father is in my mind. But just listening, he came, accepted. Very busy person, highly engaged in Europe, and hardly, very few people in India know, frankly speaking. But he's a prolific scholar, a prolific work he does. When he does this work, no one knows, 24/7. When he sleeps, no one knows. So now let us listen to him.
Hello. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. As time is 12:55 and as per the program I am having only 5 minutes. But you are free to tell me when to stop. When someone is telling you to speak at the last, it is more difficult because since yesterday we are observing different highly sophisticated, highly reputed topics from Vedantic stream to holistic stream, from yogic therapy to spirituality, from how yoga is beneficial for day-to-day life to the concept of mind. And when someone is telling you to speak at the last, it is the responsibility of a speaker to summarize all the thoughts and to put in one bottle, and that is within 5 minutes. But still, I'll try to sum up the things, and at the same time, I would like to show some light on real concept of yoga. So here, the topic is very interesting, and the topic is yoga for absolute fitness, mind and body. And basically, when I saw this topic, there are 3 important terms are there which we have to highlight. The first is yoga, second is absolute, and third is mind. So whatever time is given to me, I'll try to speak something on that. But I have taken topic message of traditional yoga for health and well-being, because this is something related to fitness, but it is not only the fitness, but it is absolute fitness. Through yoga, it is not only the yoga, but real yoga, and then the role of mind. So we start the topic, and the topic is today for message of traditional yoga for health and wellness. When we talk about this topic, basically there are 3 questions we have to understand today. The first question is, what is the meaning of traditional yoga? Because everyone in this world, they are talking about yoga. You go in the supermarket, you ask to anyone. You go in the market, ask to rickshawala, you know yoga. Everyone is telling, yes, I know yoga. Really, we know what is yoga. So we have to understand first what is traditional yoga. what is the concept of health and well-being as per traditional yoga? And third is, why traditional yoga is the best solution for health and well-being? We try to understand answers for those three questions. So here, all the three concepts, traditional yoga, health and well-being, they are interrelated. If you want to achieve health and well-being, traditional yoga is the way out. And why traditional yoga is the way out? Because if you know what is traditional yoga, automatically you are capable to get health and well-being. So that is the relationship between all the three concepts. So here, as we know, this tradition is very important topic. And when we talk about this tradition, the yogic tradition came to us from generations to generations. Different generations are there. Unfortunately, the modern teachers are deprived with this traditional knowledge, and that's why they use any practices under the name of yoga. So we have to understand really what is tradition and what is traditional yoga. So when we talk about tradition, basically there are three traditions we have as far as yoga is concerned, or as far as our wisdom is concerned. There are three different stages, or three different types of tradition. One is called subtle tradition, second is called oral tradition, and third is called the written tradition. What is subtle tradition? Subtle tradition means it's remarkable. Really, why people from all over the world, they come to us because of those traditions. What is this subtle tradition? Guru used to just remember the Shishya and transfer the knowledge. Or Guru just touch the Shishya and transfer the knowledge. Guru just gaze the Shishya and transfer the knowledge. What a great lineage we have. In some parts of the world, some parts of India, still it is there. But second is called oral tradition. What is oral tradition? Oral tradition means Guru used to speak something and Shishya used to listen, and this is called transfer of the knowledge. This is the second tradition in ashramas, hermitages we find. And what is the third tradition? This third tradition is called written tradition. Now, those who are not having guru, those who are not having masters, what to do then? And then all the great masters, they have mentioned everything in the form of manuscript by which we are capable to understand today what is yoga. So three different traditions we have when we talk about tradition. These are all the beautiful manuscripts. This is the third tradition which I am talking about. This is the written tradition, and you will be surprised to hear million manuscripts are there still we have, but unfortunately we don't know what is written in that. Have you seen some of the manuscript like this? Whole world is coming over here to learn. I'm having, it's an honor. If you permit me just to, these are all ancient manuscript we have. We don't know in fact what is written over there. And the thing is, forget about what is written over here, we don't even know how to hold. This is really unfortunate, because आपने कभी तितली को पकड़ा है? तितली को बचपन में जिस प्रकार से पकड़ा है, उसी प्रकार से मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट को पकड़ना है. I have counted all the pages. Please take care of this. It is very brutal, very ancient. So here, all such records we have, but the problem is, we don't know what is written over there, and that's why any useless practice we conduct against the name of yoga. So this is the third tradition we have, and through this, today we are capable to understand different paths of yoga. To understand what is real yoga, there are only two ways. Remember, there are only two ways. One is the tradition, and second is the ancient literature. Those who are part of this tradition, they know this knowledge. Those who are not part of this tradition, so what to do? They can read all such manuscripts and by which they are capable to understand. So number of paths are there. We know Tantra Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, Mantra Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Laya Yoga, Nada Yoga. Different paths are there. Paths are different, but the purpose is same, and that purpose is self-realization, which we know. But unfortunately, people, they don't know about that. Number of useless names you find. My topic is not to speak about number of useless names. But you know better, if you open the internet, every day you find all the useless yogas. But that is not our purpose. Our purpose is to understand what is our true wisdom. So here, what really we want. Now the question is, if this is ancient literature, the simple question is coming front of us, what is the use today of this ancient literature in modern era? To understand the importance of ancient literature in modern era, first we have to understand what is modern era. So what is modern era? In this modern era, we are having every prosperity. If you say, I want one mobile, you are having two. If you say, I need one car, you are having two. If you say, I need one ATM, you are having 3, 4. Material prosperity is there. But something is lacking, and that is inward peace. So external prosperity is there, but internal peace is lacking, and that is the reason the humans start thinking, where I am wrong. So due to that, external prosperity is there, and inward peace is lacking. That's why there is no integration between external situation and internal environment. And that's why we people are blessed with a number of awards. And what is the biggest award we get today? And that is frustration. Everyone is suffering with frustration. And what is frustration? The psychologists made the definition of frustration is like, frustration is a state of disparity between level of expectations and level of achievement. Little difficult. To understand the definition from psychological point of view, it is little difficult. So let us try to understand from simple point of view. What is frustration? Whatever you want, you are not getting. And whatever you got, you don't want. The want and get, there is a gap, and when gap is there, if gap is more, it is not possible to get happiness in your life. And then number of psychosomatic disorders are there. So we should find, the modern world should find exactly what is the root, what is the remedy for this. And what is the remedy for this? Today we have to understand very important concept. The key word is absolute. What we have to understand, today we want only holistic health, or we want holistic health. I should appreciate the people, those who have selected this topic as absolute fitness. Absolute means what? Total. Absolute means what? Holistic. And this is a new concept I would like to introduce. We don't want only holistic health today. We want holistic health. So what is holistic and what is holistic, we try to understand. So here, holistic means just cure the diseases. Every day, different viruses will come. We don't have time to run behind viruses. We don't want only cure. What we want prevention. We want promotion of internal organs, and then if it is necessary, we go for cure. So we don't want only holistic thing, we want holistic approach, and yoga is the best way to understand this. So here, what type of holistic approach I am talking about? See, if you consider man having 5 aspects of personality. And there are 5 aspects. Which are those 5 aspects? Physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. Now, in this world, you find some people are physically fit, but not mentally. Some are physically fit, but not emotionally. Some are physically fit, but not socially. Some are physically fit, they don't know what is spiritual personality. So what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of yoga? Purpose of yoga is not to reduce 2 kg weight. Purpose of yoga is not to digest your pizza and burger. The purpose of yoga is to achieve integration between all the 5 aspects of personality. So here, we don't want only physical health. We also want mental stability. We also need emotional balance. We need social maturity. And also we need spiritual upliftment. Is there any subject which can provide you ek ke upar 5? And that subject is called yoga. So most of the people, they consider yoga is physical, acrobatic. It is something different. It is nothing to do that. Yoga is for integration of personality. Please take care of my manuscript. You can give it back, please. Yeah, please. Thank you. One more is there? Thank you. Thank you very much. So, but then we have to understand what is physical personality, what is mental personality in me, what is emotional personality, what is social personality, and what is spiritual personality. If we are capable to understand what is what in me, then it is very easy to train your life. So what is physical personality? Physical health or physical personality means just efficient functioning of all the organs and the systems. It is very gross. Try to understand. It is only related to our musculature or other systems of the body. But what is mental personality? Mental personality is related to your thoughts, vichara, your thoughts. What is emotional personality? Emotional personality means freedom from emotional disturbances. Here is the problem. Most of the people, they are physically fit, but emotionally, they are not. Something is going on in their life and they totally collapsed. We have seen in this COVID or Corona period. So remember, if you forget whole lecture, it doesn't matter. Remember this sentence, that problem is not in the problem. But problem is, we don't know the solution of the problem. And why we are not capable to know the solution of the problem? Because we are not emotionally stabilized. So, emotional personality means what? Emotional personality means how you cope up with the situation. So, emotional personality says, there are 2 types of people in the world you will find. Some people consider opportunity is the problem. They get number of opportunities in their life. Every opportunity they get and they say, oh, it's a problem. Then next day again opportunity, oh, it's a problem. But very few people are there, they consider problem itself is an opportunity. Those who are emotionally stabilized, they consider problem itself is an opportunity. If your emotional level is perfect, then you can find any solution from any of the problem. What is social? How you cope up with this social arena. Number of things are there in our life, but we don't know how to cope up. So social means, if you know how to cope up with everything, then it is called your social personality. And what is spiritual? Spirituality nothing to do with religion. Religion is different and spirituality is totally different. Maybe religion is the way to understand spirituality. And that is our personality, for example, inner peace and happiness. But most of the time people ask, how you explain spiritual personality? And I always I would like to give one ready reckoner to you, so that you can understand whether you are spiritual, having spiritual integration or not. So this is the ready reckoner to all of you. In this world, you find there are 4 types of personality. 5th person you won't find in this world. 4. There is no 5th one. Only 4 persons are there. The first category of the person will say, it doesn't matter whether I'll get anything or not, but you should get. This is the first category in the world. The second category, I'm giving ready reckoner to you. You can judge yourself, you are in which category. Don't run out. And I don't even answer for this. I don't have courage to ask. So first person is, he will say, it doesn't matter whether I'll get or not, but you should get everything, my dear. First category. The second category person will say, I should get, you should get. The third category person will say, everything I should get, you should not get. And the fourth category person will say, it doesn't matter whether I'll get or not, but I have forgotten the answer. So the fourth category person will say, doesn't matter whether I'll get or not, but you should not get. Now you have to think you are in which category. Don't tell me, please. If you really feel you are in fourth category, try to come in third. If you feel you are in third category, try to come in second. If you feel you are in second category, try to come in first. And if you feel you are in first category, then please maintain it. This is called spiritual development of the personality. It has nothing to do with religion. So you have to judge. Most of the people, they are fit at physical level, but not mentally. Most of the people, they are fit at physical level, but not spiritually. Why yoga? And yoga is to get integrated personality. So in this modern world, what is the definition of yoga? Yoga is for integration of personality. This is the definition. Now if you understand this, you will understand yoga is for what. So there are 5 aspects of personality. And I told you the definition of yoga is integration of personality. So in this term, one term is integration, another is personality. So what is integration? Integration means harmonious functioning of all the aspects with that action. This is called integration. And what is personality? Personality has 5 aspects. So to understand this or to achieve it, integration of personality, you have to understand 3 fundamental principles. Which are those? Part and whole relationship. Second is relationship between different parts. And third is equality of the parts. What is first part and whole relationship? Means your physical personality is also related to whole personality. Mental is also related to whole. Emotional is also related to whole. Social is also related to whole. And spiritual is also related to whole personality. What is second? Relationship between different parts. It means that physical is related to mental, mental is related to emotional, emotional is related to social, social is related to spiritual, and all aspects are interrelated. And what is third? Equality of all the parts. Here is the problem of the world. What is the problem? Because physical personality is gross personality, and mental, emotional, social and spiritual personalities are subtle personalities, and we are very much keen about physical, 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 and that's why people put yoga only at physical level, and that's why degradation of yoga is going on. So here we have to understand this. So if it is so simple, within 5 minutes we understood 10 minutes the purpose of yoga, then why we are not capable to achieve this integration of personality? And the reason is, there is one enemy inside us to whom we consider as a friend, but that is our enemy, and that is called our mental state. If our mental state is disturbed, it affects our all the 5 aspects of personality. That's why yoga? If someone will tell you yoga is for digestion, kick him out. If someone will tell you it is for reduction of the weight, it means that it is only physical they are talking about. We don't want only physical. What we want? Mental, emotional, social and spiritual as well. So why yoga is there? To achieve integrated personality, and when integrated personality is there, then only we should say we are having health. Otherwise, we should say we are having only physical health. You know, terrorists are stronger than us. Terrorists, they are stronger than us. Then why we say they are not they are terrorists or they are not good? Because at physical level they may be strong, but at emotional level, at mental level, they are not strong. So remember, when we talk about personality, it's a 5. So this is very interesting question again I would like to ask. You ask everyone what is yoga, number of people are there, they are ready to give answer, but really what is yoga? And we have to understand first this question. So here, as Patanjali says, yoga chitta vritti nirodha, we all know about that. What is the meaning of this? The sutra, 2000 years back, a great master Patanjali has written this, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and in that he has written the definition of yoga, which is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What is the meaning of this? Complete cessation of modification of thoughts. What is yoga chitta vritti nirodha? Complete cessation of modification of thoughts. We know what is going on with us. Physically, you all are sitting over here like a very sincere students with full, attention. But your mind is in the kitchen. I'll get food after 5 minutes. How much time he will speak? Let us tell him to stop. Or maybe mind is somewhere outside. I have to go, whether I park my vehicle or not. After this workshop, I have to go in the market. In the evening, my party is there. Number of thoughts are there, but you are sitting like a very sincere student. Physically, you are sincere. What about mind? So, what exactly going on? Always it's a modification of the thoughts. What is mind? In simple term, in yogic term, forget about psychological understanding. In yogic term, when thoughts are there, mind is there. When thoughts are not there, there is no mind. In the night you sleep, sushupti, deep sleep, no mind. In the morning you wake up, chai, coffee, idli, vada. Thoughts are there, mind is there. And the problem is the mind. But I will speak this about in little later part. So what is the definition of yoga? It is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So here, today we have to understand who is responsible for disturbing this holistic health in this practical era. So number of things are there. We know frustration, phobias, depression, conflict, negativity. Number of psychological problems are there. And we have to know how to train this mind. Because who is the culprit? The culprit is our mind. People are physically fit, but they don't know about. So that's why we have to understand. So if you understand this, after this slide you can tell me, stop, I am ready to stop. But try to understand exactly where is the problem. Now as I told you, there are 5 aspects of personality. Physical, mental, emotional, social and spiritual. Now exactly what is going on? We are part of society. And society has only one assignment to do. This assignment is called FFM. You know what is the full form of FFM? It is called Fault Finding Mission. Society has only one work. Whatever you are doing, society is there to find your problems. They are there to criticize. And then what happens when constantly criticism is going on from the society at your emotional level, up to certain level, up to certain time period, you are capable to cope up. But after some time, the emotional level is totally full. And we don't know what is to be done. But this body is beautiful machine made by whomsoever. The pressure which you develop at emotional level automatically shifted to lower level of your personality. And that lower level is mental level. Now, but society has same work. Society has always same work to hammer you, always. Now the problem is what? The emotional level is totally full. Due to hammering, mental level is also full. We don't know what is to be done. Because we never learned in any of the schools, any of the colleges, how to manage it. But this body is again beautiful machine. The problem which is at emotional level, coming to mental level, and now shifted to lower level, that is called physical level. But here is the twist in the story. From emotional level, problem is shifted to mental level. But from mental level, problem is not shifted to physical. It is just symptom of the problem shifted to physical. All the things you will find at body level. But where is the problem? Problem is at mind level. Problem is at emotional level. So the simple equation is what? If the problem coming from social arena to emotional, from emotional to mental, and then physical is also involved, can it be possible if I perform some of the practices at physical level, it is possible to create effect at mental level, vice versa, opposite way, or some practices I can perform at physical level and I get results at emotional level? And the answer is yes. And all the yogic practices which you perform through body, it is not for the body, it is for mind. It is for emotional level. But how to perform those practices, it is the key of success. And within 5 minutes, I will just explain it. You are comfortable or you want me to stop? Yeah? Feel free to tell me stop. I am happy. No problem. So here, then from lower level, all the practices of yoga you perform, asana, pranayam, bandha mudra, shuddhi kriya, you perform through body. But it is not for the body, it is for the mind. That's why yoga is not physical, it is psychophysical. Yoga यह शारीरिक नहीं है, यह मनोकायिक है. यानी you perform through body, but you get results at mind level. This is the fundamental principle you have to understand. Then, from lower level, you are using your body and giving training to your mental and emotional level. But from higher personality, which is your spiritual personality, for example, you are doing some of the spiritual practices. For example, ethics and morals called yama niyama, dharana, dhyana, chanting of the mantras, you read some scriptures, all such spiritual practices if you perform, what will happen? Your spiritual, the ultimate, the higher personality will be developed, and the problem which you face from social personality at emotional and mental can be diluted, and then any problem may be there in your life, you know the solution, because problem is an opportunity now for you, because your spiritual personality is also very strong. Those who understand this, they are staying like a monk in this materialistic world. Those who are not capable to understand, they are like this. They don't know what is to be done about this. So it is whole philosophy here. So what is the disease? Why we are not capable to get the absolute fitness, absolute health, absolute well-being? We have to understand that it's a chain of diseases. All our activities are mental activities, that you have to understand today. Because mind and body both are involved in that. Only body is not involved. Mind is also involved, because every activity mind is also involved. Therefore, the process of getting sick and the cure are essentially mental processes. If problem is at the mind, what is the use of giving treatment only to the body? This is the common logic. So we should find some treatment which you can give directly to the mind. So here, this is the simple equation of the diseases. You will be surprised to see, this is the official document from WHO site. What they are talking about? Mental instability and illness, 1/6 of the health disorders in India. 1/6 of the disorders. Means, see, more than 20 crore patients are there in India. Those who are suffering with mental illness, psychosomatic illnesses, stress-related problems. And more problematic situation is, this record is prior to Corona, prior to COVID. We don't know what is going on today. So it is a burning issue we have to understand. So again, what is the answer for this? And Patanjali is telling, yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Who is the culprit? Who is our enemy? The chitta. What is chitta? It is a special term used by ancient literature, especially by Patanjali. What is chitta? When mind, ego and intellect, all the three faculties are working together, it is called chitta. That's why he said, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What is that? Thoughts are running. After one thought, second is coming. After second, third is coming. After third, fourth is. It's like a chain of thoughts. Who is yogi? Yogi is not a person who is wearing the saffron colored dress, long beard, staying in Himalayas. Yogi is not external. Yogi is internal quality. So here, as and when you know how to stop your thinking or how to stop your thoughts, you will be considered as a yogi. So here, let us try to understand this chitta. You want me to continue? You people are very kind. So here, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. What is this chitta concept we have to understand? If we understand this chitta, again we will understand where is the problem. So chitta has 5 levels, or your mind has 5 levels, working levels. And they are called in Sanskrit, kshipta, moodha, vikshipta, ekagra and niruddha. These are 5 different levels. Remember, what is mind? Thought is mind. When mind is there, when thoughts are there, mind is there. When thoughts are not there, there is no mind. So here, different layers are there. Some more layers are there, I will discuss after 2 minutes, but here, these are 5 levels of chitta. Kshipta, moodha, vikshipta, ekagra and niruddha. Now we try to understand exactly. This is the diagram. Now what is this diagram? If you consider that circle as your mind and arrows like your thoughts, can you say this person is very stable? Person is sitting in this seminar, but thoughts are there whether I'll get food or not. After that, where I have to go. My boss is observing whether I am attending or not, whether I get some certificate or not. So number of thoughts are there, number of thoughts are there. And when number of thoughts are there, we are totally disturbed. So this stage is called kshipta. Comparatively kshipta, moodha is better. Why? Because at least thoughts are in one direction. But what is the definition of yoga? It is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Complete cessation we want. And comparatively kshipta and moodha, vikshipta is better. Why? Because less thoughts are there and they are in one direction. But what is the definition of yoga? Yoga chitta vritti. We want complete cessation, because one thought is also dangerous. Because from 1 second is coming, from second, third, fourth, fifth, 50, 100, 1000, 2000, 10,000 thoughts are there. The ekagra sthiti, the fourth is called ekagra. Comparatively kshipta, moodha, vikshipta, ekagra is very good. Why? Because only one thought is there, but one thought is also dangerous, because we know after 1 second is coming, it's like a chain. So all such 4 stages may be dangerous. The 5th stage is called niruddha. As and when complete cessation is there, then there is no problem, because they say, what is life? Life is mind game. Today, if you want to take something with you, the philosophy of this workshop, you should take one statement with you, and that is, today you have to decide you are slave of your mind or you are master of your mind. Mind make you jump or you are making mind to jump. So that's why they say, राह तो सीधी है, मोड़ सारे मन के हैं. The path is very straight, but the mind is the culprit. It's like a monkey. So here, if you reach up to there, so why all the practices? First you have to understand this. Why all the practices of yoga designed by different masters? Maybe it is yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, brahma mudra, shuddhi kriya, pratyahar. All the practices. Maybe different paths of yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, mantra yoga, jnana. All the paths, everything is for what? Not for digesting your pizza and burger. Not for reduction of 2 kg weight. If you are doing this, please change your thinking. It is for downfall of the vrittis. When there is a downfall of the vrittis, it means you are getting more stability. So what is the equation of yoga? Less thoughts, more stability. If more thoughts, less stability. So all the practices you have to understand for this minimization of this. So here, I am not telling, every text is talking about Bandhuratma namastasya yainatme vatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve varte tatmeva shatruvat. What a beautiful quotation in Bhagavad Gita. What is the meaning of this? Lord Krishna is talking about, for the one who has conquered the mind is the best of friend. But for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be his greatest enemy. So, Duryodhana asked to Lord Krishna, he said, same question. Maybe Duryodhana is our representative. He asked, Janami dharmam, nachme pravrutti. Janami adharmam, nachme nivrutti. I know what is virtue, but it is not possible for me to follow. I know what is wrong, but I don't know how to release it. And Lord Krishna says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Mind is responsible for the bondage. Same mind is responsible for the liberation. Now we reach up to here, and the last topic, what is mind? Still you have patience? Sure? Yes. Okay, I will cover. You are free to tell me stop anytime, because I am taking your valuable time, but still. So here, the last topic about the mind, because we are talking about mind. So what is mind exactly? Everyone is talking about mind, but what is mind? We have to understand. So remember, this mind is like a beehive. मधुमक्खी का छत्ता होता है ना, beehive. Mind is like a beehive. And what is going on? All our 5 sense organs, they are going outside and they collect garbage from the materialistic world. Yes, really I'm telling garbage. Collecting all the useless things and dumping in the mind. And then process starts. Rather to say process, then disaster starts in our life. What exactly going on? The information picked up by the senses. You know all the jnanendriyas, eyes, nose, tongue, we know. We collect the information from external world. And then we dump in the mind, and then process starts. What is the process? Then information picked up by the senses pass on to the mind and then give rise to the thoughts, which results in the emotions, and emotion leads the feeling. And life is totally collapsed. वो लिखा नहीं है मैंने, but this is here. So exactly what is going on here? If those emotions which you cultivate inside your mind, and be careful, if those emotions are negative, if you develop those negative emotions, maybe you are in Switzerland, you are very sad, angry, upset. Life is so beautiful externally, still you start telling, there is no use in my life. Why? Because they say in Sanskrit, in Marathi, Jashi Srushti, Jashi Drushti, Tashi Srushti. They say, as per your vision, you try to see everything. So here, then you are sad, guilty, ashamed, depressed, hurted. But if you develop positive emotions inside it, then what will happen? Maybe disaster is there in external world, but still you are having solution, the answer for everything. So remember, problem is not the problem. Problem is we don't know the solution for the problem. As and when we get solution for the problem, problem turns to an opportunity. That is only the difference. And if you know how to balance it, how to balance pratikula to anukula vritti, from negative to positive vrittis, at least in that level, you are master in this materialistic world. So remember what exactly going on. This is the chain. If you want to develop your personality in positive way, it is not possible to develop in this one day. You cannot, start organizing one day personality development. It's a process. And this process has 4 different aspects. Which are those? Thinking, acting, habit, and character. There is a sequence. As you think, so you act. Action leads to habit, and then habit forms the character. If you want to develop your positive character, stable character, if you want to achieve that stage, then the first point is thinking, and thinking is related to your mind. That's why yoga is talking about only one concept, mind, mind and mind. That's why this topic is very important. The path of fitness is going through the mind. It is not with only acrobatic and dancing and nothing. We should understand this very clearly. Tell to the people, those who are not capable to understand what is what. So here, it's opportunity. When I was working number of ancient texts, not possible to tell much about this, time is very short, but you can witness the website. Number of ancient manuscripts I found, and it was possible to print in a form of book, and all such concepts you find in those ancient literature. You know something about Hatha Pradipika? Any one of you? Yeah? How many chapters are there? 4 chapters. Okay. Any other answer? 5. Okay. Any other answer? Not you. You are not qualified. I discussed with you. While working on this, sir, I found one manuscript which is Goraksha Siddhanta Sangraha. In that manuscript, it has written that Hatha Pradipika contains 10 chapters and not 4 or 5. Luckily, I found this manuscript. Also, I found the commentary written on, and it was possible to publish this Hatha Pradipika. Just for your information. Now, I'm talking about mind. You will be surprised to hear that one day I thought to control the mind is the aim. What will happen if I'm capable to control? There is no life. And thought came and I started searching what is beyond mind. And you will see the first book, Amanaska Yoga, Beyond Mind. Number of texts are there. We have to understand this. Otherwise, sirf haath pair hilana or 2 kilo wajan kam karna, it is not yoga. Try to understand. And that's why I'm very happy when he invited me and I heard that traditional yoga. I thought whatever work I have to do, whatever busy schedule would be, but I have to be here because traditional yoga is very, very important. Not possible to explain. That Hatha Tattva Kaumudi, all such books are first time published, ancient manuscripts. I found all such manuscripts because of the blessings. It is not possible you go and search. If blessings are there, then only it is possible. The Hatha Yoga is from the Natha Sampradaya, and very big Sampradaya, Natha Sampradaya. And the master of Natha Sampradaya is Dattatreya, three-faced God. And I thought, without Guru, it is not possible to get the knowledge. Who must be the master of Nathas? And I found Dattatreya is there. And you won't believe, Dattatreya Yoga Shastra, another book. So knowledge is very vast. Not possible to tell because I have to. This is very interesting. Still you have patience? Yeah? Yes, thank you. But please feel free, huh? No formalities. Just 5 minutes and then. What is the time exactly? Yeah. Okay. 10 minutes. I'll just. So this is very interesting. I'm talking about mind, because here the fitness, the path of fitness is going from the mind. And hundreds of layers are there. Hundreds of layers are there. They are working with you. We don't know. Some interesting layers I am telling. If you find your behavior is like this, then just laugh, smile. Don't tell me. मन ही मन हंसना है और समझ जाना है कि कौन सी मन की कौन सी लेयर काम कर रही है. Different layers are there. They called as peripheral mind, intensive mind, intrinsic mind, abysmal mind, cloud stand mind, obscure mind, obtuse. These are all technical terms, but I'll explain exactly. अगर ऐसे होता होगा तो बस मन ही मन हंसना है, मुझे जवाब नहीं देना है. So these are the levels. For example, peripheral mind. It is called blind mind. We want to say without consideration. Sometimes we speak anything without consideration. Anything, any topic without any consideration. This is called one layer of the mind. See how mind is dangerous. Second is called intensive mind. Yeah, sometimes once in a blue moon, we think and also analyze. But mostly we think Without thinking, we speak. Intrinsic mind means think, analyze, but say as per the situation. This is going on with all of you now. I am asking, you are happy with me? You are not happy with me. Still, your intrinsic mind is working. You think, you analyze, now this is the time for the food. But still you say, no, 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 you continue. The abysmal mind means thoughts are already stored and coming out. All thoughts are there. Any topic is going on. You start your own topic. Because thoughts are already there. Someone is discussing something, some different aspects. कोई कहता अरे बुरा हो गया मेरे घर में इसका निधन accident हो गया. Now the thought very good in your mind, already it is stored. So you don't know, you don't even think what is going on. This is one layer of the mind. Cloud stand mind means, this is interesting. You know, but you want to hide from others. Most of the time, when your boss is asking, how is my administration? And you know, he is very poor in the administration. Still say, sir, your administration is fantastic. You are the great person, great administrator. We know, cloud stand, this cloud stand. Obscure mind means, fact want to know, but hidden by itself. चश्मा लगा लिया, ढूंढ रहे हो. रात में लाइट चले गए, मोबाइल से मोबाइल ढूंढ रहे हो. So it is going on. And finally, which is interesting, obtuse mind, we don't know that we don't know. This is going on with yoga. People say, I know everything. Unfortunately, they don't know anything. They do anything, all the useless things we have to understand. So here, today I would like to tell you, you are in which category? Really you are positive? Really you are between positive and negative? Really you are negative? Don't tell the answer. So, but it is like a ready reckoner for all of you. You should take this with you. For example, today you are having holistic vision with you. You are having deep purpose you feel in your life. For example, responsible attitude you have, effective understanding you have, or steady commitment, then definitely your approach is positive. For example, you are having broken vision, distracted purpose, shaky attitude, doubtful understanding, circumstantial commitment, then you are in between positive and negative. And finally, if you are having only one vision and that is no vision, it is dangerous. Then short-term purpose, destructive attitude, dark understanding, selfish commitment, this is negative. Practice yoga, then what will happen? If you practice yoga, then automatically if you are at negative state, you will commit between negative and then positive. Number of publications. Someone was talking about therapy. You will be surprised. All the great masters, they have mentioned everything. I got opportunity to publish this book, Therapeutical References to Traditional Yoga Texts. All the asanas, therapeutical benefits of the asana, therapeutic benefits of pranayam, bandha mudra, shuddhi kriya, everything you will find. Not possible to speak much about that. You can visit the website. So, what is my purpose? All the practices of yoga, they are for what? They are for stability of the mind. Because life is mind game. So all the practices of yoga, yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, all are working together. Why all practices are there? Only for this term. This is your enemy, manasaha. And you should know how to control this mind. So here, final 3-4 minutes. But the problem of the world is they don't know the fundamental principle written here. And finally, the fundamental principle, I'll tell you just one, because in previous session, Swamiji asked some questions. I would like to give answers for this he was talking about. So say, for example, fundamental principle mentioned in manuscript. Why manuscript? Why traditional yoga is important? Because all the fundamental principles you will find. People, they are not part of traditional yoga. That's why they don't know what is fundamental principle, and that's why they are using anything. So what is fundamental principle? I would like to speak only about asana. So for example, I'll ask you, you agree every lock has its own key? If you take any other key, is it possible to open the lock? No. So every lock has its own key. Fine? But this is old example. This is interesting example. You know every mobile has its own password. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know number of numbers, but one number is missing. You are not capable to open. So every lock has its key. Every mobile has its own password. So this is the science. What is the science? Every lock has its own key. Other key won't work. This is the science. And you cannot change the science. You cannot change the science of any subject. Now, why I am telling this? For example, every subject has its own science. If I say 1 + 1, 3, all the atomic engineers will kill me. If I say 2 + 4, 1, if I say 2 + 2, 5, then what will happen? You will throw me away. Why? Because what is the science of mathematics? It is always 2 + 2 what in your country? In Japan, 2 + 2 is always 4. In America, this is the science. You cannot change the science. But you can change the arts of any subject. For example, I will ask you, the last chair, what is the answer of 2 + 2? Last chair. Very good. So you can show like this. This is the arts. But you are not telling like this. Because answer is 4. You cannot change the science of any subject, but you can change the arts. You can write with red pen, blue pen, on the page, on your shirt, on your forehead, but you cannot change the answer. You agree this? Now, what is the science of yoga? Science of asana. Sthira Sukham Asanam. He asked prior to that, that's why I'm clearing and I finish. So, Sthira Sukham Asanam. This is the quotation you will find in ancient literature. There are two things. Sthira means stability. If there is a stability of the body, then only you should consider it's asana. So stability is related to your body, sukha is related to your mind. For example, I am doing this. Can you say this is asana? Because it is not stability, it is moving. So stability means steady. Prayatna shaithilya means effortlessness. And tato dvandvana bhighata means to remove your dvandva, the conflict. Now, here is the problem. He asked in the last lecture, if someone is asking you, are you doing exercises? You say yes. But people are not capable to understand exercise has two aspects. One is called static exercise, another is called dynamic exercise. There are two aspects of exercises. One is static, another is dynamic. What is static exercise? When there is no repetition in your action and you are maintaining the final position, that is called static. And what is dynamic? When repetitions are there, but you are not maintaining the final position, that is called dynamic. Most of the people, they don't know that static exercise is also there. So when you talk about dynamic, they start doing yoga dynamic, which is nothing to do with, because Sthira Sukham Asanam. So all the asanas, they are very little movement, but exercise, repetitive movement. Asana consume minimum energy. You should not tell that after Shavasana I am totally tired, fatigue is there. You cannot say like that, because minimum energy. But in exercise, consume maximum energy. With asana, you develop tone of the muscle, means stretching ability. And remember, most of the people, they don't know, when you stretch statically the muscle, muscle is relaxed. Most of the people, they don't know. But when you perform dynamic exercises, muscle is contract. For example, dumbbells. People like yoga term, then they say, what you are doing? They say dumbbells yoga. Nothing to do with dumbbells yoga, because it is dynamic. It is not static. I am not against of dynamic practices. What I am telling, what is your intention? If you want to develop your biceps, directly go in the gym, perform weight training, but don't tell it is dumbbells yoga. So remember, the philosophy of asana is different, philosophy of exercise is different. The psychology of asana is different, the psychology of exercise is different. That's why physiology of asana is different and physiology of exercise. So number of, when I was just searching, I would like to show this book and I stopped. I got this opportunity. Everyone is telling asana is acrobatic, everyone is telling asana is physical, something. I got opportunity to publish this encyclopedia. There are about 300, 200 manuscripts I found and then published in the form of book. There are about 1,000 asanas are mentioned here with authentic source. Any book you open, any page, you will find the reference of the asanas, number of beautiful asanas, and that's why we are capable to understand exactly what is asana. Asana is not physical activity. Will you be so kind enough to just, sorry, I'm giving trouble to you. Yeah. So this we want, not possible to explain. Such things we need with authentic. So what I'm telling finally, modern distorted styles of yoga means several problems because they are not doing anything related to. But traditional authentic yoga means all the solutions. What you want, today you have to decide. You want problems? All the best. If you want solutions, well done. So here, finally, this is the final slide. When they developed yoga, the purpose was to understand your true nature. Tadaha drashtuhu swarupe vasthanam. To understand your true nature. But then, philosophy of yoga is changed. Then people started using yoga only to understand adhyatmika purpose, the spiritual. And that's why they have given name as adhyatmika yoga. Then people started understanding yoga only at buddhi, intellect, and the name was buddhi yoga. Then due to that, we were away from our true nature and number of diseases were knocking on our door. That's why we need chikitsa. Then people started using chikitsa yoga. Then I don't know what happened. Then people started using vyayama without understanding that it is static and dynamic. Then krida yoga. And today, spardha yoga. I don't know. Really, it is a development of yoga or it is a downfall of yoga. I would like to put this question in your court today that you have to understand what really yoga is. This is the vast spectrum of this traditional yoga topic. First of all, I would like to convey very humble thanks and then a sincere apology. I have taken much time of yours. I know you people are hungry, but thank you very much to Guruji. Thank you very much to the organizers who have given this beautiful opportunity to me for sharing some, and thanks to all the caretaker. Without you, it is not possible. You have managed everything, and thank you. Hope to meet you again in such seminars, workshop, and discourses. But remember, join this revival of traditional yoga mission. Today we have to spare. By my institute, Lonavla Yoga Institute, we have started it. Please continue by any means. But this is our culture, this is our wisdom. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful integration of all the previous topic, and you have incorporated your own addition also to it. I request you, sir, to honor him with a bouquet and shawl. You had, in a very subtle manner, brought your 5 minutes to 95 minutes. But at the same time, I must admit, you have hit at the current problem which we are facing and given the solution in a very nice way. How to integrate all the 5 forms of our personality and control ourselves. And to the audience, we can take this problem as an opportunity that short of meal time, we will finish our lunch fast, no chit-chats, come back to auditorium and give the another lecturer enough time to speak and so that we can listen to them. Huh?
Thank you.
And we'll join for photography session now. Yes, sir. Sir, on the dais. We have photography session in the will be ECIL, NCCM and AMD. All the delegates from ECIL, NCCM and AMD can come on to the dais, please. And NPCIL also. सर यहाँ पे बोला ऊपर हाँ जगन on the dais वही बोला on the dais photography session is on the dais, not in the ground. The second group for the photography session, they can get ready. It will be BARC, VECC, RRCAT, IPR, HRPSU Mumbai. They can all come into the first row, the next group for photography session. Please make it fast. BARC, VECC, RRCAT, IPR, HRPSU Mumbai. Second group. DPS and Geetam can also join. Huh? वो सोचा बट क्या 2 एलिवेशन के लिए फिर सर को सामने रहना सर के सामने सर हैज टू बी देयर इन फ्रंट Arrange yourself as per your height, please, so that all of you get covered in the photograph. The next group is NFC delegates. Please come forward. NFC delegates. अभी ये लोग दोनों तरफ से निकल रहे थे क्या बोले? हाँ एक्सटर्नल डेलीगेट बोलो NFC delegates Shweta हाँ जाओ make a line in front हाँ इधर आ जाओ Sainu sir, madam.
हम लोग बाद में एक ले लेना था एक्चुअली इकड़ा कहाँ ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमेटी का बाद में ले सकते थे सब बुला लिया आ गए वो ठीक है
अनाउंस कर दे नेक्स्ट इज अभी आप ज्वाइन कीजिए सर यू ज्वाइन नेक्स्ट का ये ट्रेडिशनल योगा डेलीगेट्स
मिसिंग
नहीं वो विल जॉइन नहीं बाद में कर लेंगे चौबे कहाँ गए पता नहीं फोन कीजिए आ गया ये बाद में एक बाद में ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमेटी का now I'd like to call on external delegates from traditional yoga external delegates from traditional yoga please join on the stage for a group photo नहीं बाद में ये इनका होना है बाद में
ट्रेडिशनल योगा डेलीगेट्स प्लीज
we'll take a photo afterwards
just a second sir have you got the board BRC Vizag also got missed students are also left
नहीं करेंगे
have you got a board BRC Vizag
हाँ CSF का भी मांगा है हाँ CSF को बुला देंगे जल्दी CSF को बुला देंगे किसका
actually ये दोनों
हाँ
छोटे
सर
सर
हाँ
board and BRC Vizag
CSF को देखो
traditional yoga delegates please
आ रहा है आप जाइए
all of you are requested to arrange yourself height wise so all of you get covered in the photograph
one layer can go in the bottom here.
one row can stand in the bottom also
One can stand here also, yes.
क्यों आप मैसेज लगा के डिलीट कर देते हैं
मैडम व्हाई डोंट यू कवर इधर आ जाइए
फ्रंट में आ जाइए,
front of
फ्रंट में आ जाइए, दिखेंगे नहीं मुझे। You cannot, you can stand there. पोडियम निकाल देंगे। ये इधर इधर कनेक्टेड है शायद। वायर है कनेक्टिंग। नहीं वायर है इसमें, नहीं निकाल सकते इसको। हाँ कम Now I request Heavy Water Board, BRC Vizag delegates to come onto the stage for the group photo. CSF. देंगे बट हेवी वाटर बोर्ड का कुछ 4-5 लोग हैं। CSF बोला देंगे। I request CSF, NFC also to join for the group photo. CSF.
BRC Vizag, Heavy Water Board, CISF. And anyone who has missed the group photographs can also join.
Organizing committee members.
Sir, organizing committee member आधा लोग इधर से उधर है।
नहीं बुला लेंगे एक ब्रेक ले लेंगे यार। कौन गया उधर? हम लोग उधर कौन गया? हम लोग है इधर लोग है इधर ऑलरेडी। Committee members.
Last group is the organizing committee members. So all the members from the organizing committee, please be ready.
ये दो लोगों को नहीं मिला था, आठों को मार देगा, एक को नहीं मिला था, घर में मार देगा। I am the boss in my wife house. I have got the permission from my wife to say so.
Sir, please request for the organizing committee members to assemble.
Now I request organizing committee members, works committee members to kindly come onto the stage for a group session. I request Mrs. Preeti Srivastav, Preeti Chaube, Suma to come onto that stage for group photo. Anybody? I request everyone to join for the lunch now in the dining hall. All ladies. All ladies. Madam.
Ayo, Shweta.
हाँ